Alright, well, it's been a while. It's been gay and retarded for a while, bitch. Yeah, so, I don't know. I'm not really sure what to say this exact moment, but I'm sure I'll think of it as I go. Sure, I'll fuck your mom as I go, bitch. I don't know, I think I'll play a video game. Why not? Yeah, Souls of Fortune 2 is pretty cool. Got it open right now. Turn the volume down. Yeah, volume controls, I guess I'll start there. Volume controls always suck, it seems like, in software. And, so like, operating system and video game volume controls usually fuck it up. Because what happens is, so sound pressure level is expressed in decibels. So, aka dB, if you've ever seen, dB, lowercase d, uppercase b, yeah, that stands for decibels. So, tenths of a bell, BEL being a measurement, but so deci, just, sort of like decimeter is a tenth of a meter, right? Not deca, but deci, right? DECI, deci. Fucking slowly, whatever. I miss my days of watching anime. I never grew out of it. That's something I prefer to keep in the past. I've talked a little bit about that before. I've thought about anime a bit more recently, partly because I've been thinking about video and audio compression more recently. Actually, I've got this Indian lecture series up. It's in English, and the original video date, let's see, I got on my other monitor here. Let's see. Yeah, they were originally uploaded in 2008. So that's probably when I originally watched them, so I would have been 16 or 17. This particular lecture series is on computer graphics. I guess I was a huge graphics nerd. Before I get into that, let me finish my original point. And of course, then I'll end up fucking forgetting about that, but whatever. Anyway, decibels, aka dB. And quick tangent, there's this one unnecessary gatekeeping. Not all gatekeeping is bad. Unnecessary gatekeeping is bad, right? So, an example of unnecessary gatekeeping would be, I was watching this one thing on audio engineering, and some retard, it was like I wouldn't really say like a lecture, maybe like a presentation. There were several people presenting, and or I think if it was from the video I'm thinking of. Anyway, they made this claim that people who actually know what they're talking about don't say decibels, they say dB. If you know your shit, you say dB. Actual audio engineers say dB. It's like, dude, it doesn't fucking matter. dB is short for decibels, so like, what does it matter? You know what I mean? Anyway, so the problem with a sound pressure level, well, first of all, let me tangent again. People mix up sound pressure level and loudness, which is a perceptual phenomenon, and you can't really quantify it. There's at least a standard, I believe, that attempts to quantify it. It's like, like a dB equivalent of loudness. I don't know if it ever actually came to fruition. I think it was EBU or like whatever, some standards organization. I think it was EBU that came up with some like dynamic range compression, like, I don't know, standard or whatever for like television, I don't know. Anyway, so dB is logarithmic. let me, get back to my main point. dB is logarithmic. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm playing Soldier of Fortune 2, and let's see, let me check the volume again. Oh, fuck. Come on. I got my phone sitting on the computer, and it was like sitting on the fucking, I guess the M key. So I opened the console, and, there's a bazillion M's. Anyway, so I went to turn the volume down, and I checked, in Soldier of Fortune 2, it's S_volume, and it said it was set to 0.2, and I set it to 0.01, and now it's at like the point of like I can just barely hear it, right? But not enough to distract me if like anybody in the game talks or whatever. Right now I'm playing the airport level. It says it's set in Bern, Switzerland, but there's no airport this big in Bern. The big one is in I don't remember, but the station in Bern is sort of like a connecting station or whatever, sort of like planes. You have like little airstrips that'll take you to an airport to go somewhere else or whatever. It's like the subway equivalent of that. I don't know. Anyway, well, yeah. So you're kind of in a subway that leads to the airport, and I believe that it's modeled after the one in Geneva. The map is set in Switzerland. But anyway, you're at the airport and you gotta take care of the terrorists or whatever, blah blah blah, U.S. propaganda bullshit. But anyway, so when I started talking, I started playing this just to be doing something while I talk. But the volume at 0.2 was too loud, and when I turned it down, intuitively I decided to set it to 0.01. In fact, let me try something else. Yeah, 0.05 is still too loud. 0.025 is still too loud, yeah. So, well, anyway, the point I started with, and, at this point it seems like I've tangented for 7-ish, 8-ish minutes, is that I had to set it so low. Well, first of all, I had it so low, 0.2. Now, the reason I had it even set to what it was at, which is actually pretty loud, and I have my main operating system volume control set at 0.7. Well, they call it 70%, but same thing. So the reason such a low setting might sound so loud, there's a lot of reasons. Part of it plays into what I just mentioned about loudness, where SPL. So when you set the volume control on your OS or like your media player or a video game or whatever, you're setting the SPL really. Digital audio on a computer is generally 16-bit PCM, and on Windows it's least significant bit first, aka little endian. Endian, ENDIAN, as in of the little end. Little end, big end dichotomy in audio formats is a reference to Gulliver's Travels, I believe, where there's groups called Little Indian and Big Indian based off of which side of the egg they eat first. When they eat a boiled egg, it's a reference to that. But really, in the context of digital audio, it means Little Indian is least significant bit, or LSB first, and then Big Indian is most significant bit, or MSB first. But digital audio on computers is interesting because 0 dB is actually the loudest the audio could be. Well, it's the largest voltage, which again is a separate issue, because how loud 0 dB is, the max, so to speak, is going to depend on your speakers, what their wattage is, blah blah blah. But when you move the slider around in the OS or whatever, you're messing with the SPL really. Well, you're messing with the dB setting in the audio processor, so you're essentially the way PCM works on with digital audio on computers is that 0 dB is actually the loudest it could be, and then the values essentially encode the distance away from that, right? So the larger the value, the kind of like further it is away from 0 dB, so to speak, so the quieter it is. And conceptually, you actually can't get silence with that because your ability to set it as low as it can go depends on the resolution. In 16 bits, thankfully you could get away with it because the depth of the dynamic range possible with 16-bit is 96 dB, and that's undithered. Now, if you dithered it, you could get 120 dB or whatever. But still, at least, in theory, I say theory actually because, well, it's not even really a theory. It's not even an explanation per se. It's just flat out, I guess, more like a law. I'm just, observing how it works. But, like, you really can't get total silence if your reference point is, maximum, and then, you've got a limited number of bits of resolution to encode the distance away from that. But, again, at 16, it's like the smallest value you could get with 16-bit PCM is well below the noise floor, even in what you would consider a quiet room. But anyway, after further tangenting, let me desperately try to get back to my motherfucking point. This is my favorite part of Airport. I like blasting through the second and third parts the most. I usually start there, mostly because you just don't have to wait for the subway train at the beginning to kind of get to the platform. Mind the gap. So I could just jump straight in. But the final part where we actually meet Alexei Nishrad, and then, spoiler alert, it actually wasn't a Russian who was the bad guy the whole time. For a 2002 game, this game was kind of revolutionary as having an American as the bad guy. Because the ultimate bad guy in the game is actually an American guy who's a mole in your, like, stupid PMC fucking company. And I mean, this came out a year after 9/11, which is kind of interesting. And the penultimate level I'm playing right now is like literally on an airplane. This predates the airplane mission in Call of Duty 4, which is what we used to call it back in 2007, by 5 years. So suck it, Activision. Actually, did Activision publish this? I don't remember who the developers are. Infinity Ward, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, this one's my favorite. Also, being on a plane, the layout of the plane reminds me of the one where you meet Lebedev at LaGuardia and Deus Ex, which also came out a similar time. I think it came out in 2000, didn't it? Or 2001. I don't know. Either way, Soldier of Fortune 2 particularly kind of always just felt like Metal Gear Solid 2, but first person, right? Especially if you look at your character's design. Yeah, when you kill Nishrad, the game is weird. For whatever reason, it resets the sound volume level. Alright, let me try really, really hard to do your mom now. Alright. So anyway, the reason I have to set the volume controls so low to make it sound like still not as quiet as you would expect is because dB is logarithmic. And so what that means is, well, The problem with software is that a lot of times the volume slider is encoded linearly. Okay, so what that means is because dB is logarithmic, the like kind of bottom 80% of the volume slider kind of doesn't do much, and then it's like, that top 20% or whatever the slider, it's like changing it by 1% makes it like blaringly louder than the previous one, right? It's like taking it from 80 to 81 or like 82 or whatever is like noticeably louder than if you took it from like 10 to 12, and that's the reason they're using a linear mapping on what is essentially a logarithmic scale. And this isn't part of the perceptual thing. This is actually just how it works. But so that's why, right? It's I don't remember all the math on it. I used to, but it's a base 10 logarithm. So going from 10 dB to 20 dB is a doubling, right? If you went from 10 to 30, you quadrupled it, something like that. As far as the pure power ratio, although in practice, like say for example, you were turning the volume down, reducing the dB by 6, so you went to like my music player lists it, the maximum is 0 dB because it's essentially representing full scale. If I went to make it essentially half as loud, I would take it to minus 6 dB because for whatever reason, it's about 6 dB makes the volume sound about half as loud. So minus 12 would sound about a quarter of the original volume. But yeah, anyway, that's why that happens. It's sort of like with image processing stuff. If you've ever even used Microsoft Paint, you might have noticed that picking the so-called like middle value, like let's say you had a black pixel, it's totally black, another pixel totally white, and it's like you want the gray in the middle. If you choose the midpoint values, the tri-stimulus values would be 127, 127, 127. I don't remember the hex on it, but if you're astute, you might have noticed that that's not actually the midpoint. That's not like directly in between the two. Well, that's for the same reason, because so the 8-bit color on your display is gamma encoded, and the gammas, the original displays were something like 2.6 or 2.5-ish. Modern displays are more like 2.2 or even 1.8. So it actually depends on your display, which is, motherfucking annoying. But due to that gamma encoding, the actual mid-gray value is more like 187, 187, 187, something like that, like 193, 193, 193. Again, it depends on the gamma exponent that you decided on. I remember reading years ago when Valve was first doing the orange box, and they had one of their stupid papers. You can still find it on their publications page. That's the sound of me fucking your mom, bitch. But they were talking about, porting, orange box to the 360. And dude, like, you thought sRGB was bad enough, but the 360 actually had a piecewise linear approximation of the sRGB curve, which is fucking nuts if you understand anything about, like, color encoding. Yeah, I have no clue why they did that. Maybe it made sense with the hardware design, or I don't know. But yeah, So if you try to use an actual just gamma exponent on a 360, it would look weird. But yeah, anyway, it's sort of the same thing with that. So because sound is logarithmic as well, a logarithm just being an inverse exponent, the values, if you use a linear mapping, are, you know, linear mapping logarithmic output. Basically you get like the opposite problem, since it's a log scale. So you map those values linearly and you get essentially an exponential increase. And, you know, again, that's why, you know, the motherfucking first half or 3/4 of the volume scale on your computer don't seem to do much, and then you get like to the top 10-20%, it's like moving it one little pixel, you know, makes it sound twice as fucking loud or whatever. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of annoying that video games have always done that. Although some games like Doom 3, at least the original on you know, the actual, you know, Tech 4. I just call it the Doom 3 engine, but I think that one's Tech 4. It actually has its volume setting in dB. And if you set the scale in that to the minimum on the actual slider in the menu, like in the in-game menu, and then you check the console and put in, you know, I think it's volume underscore dB, you'll actually notice it's not all the way off, because it essentially can't be. And actually, if you want it to be totally quiet, you can actually put in -inf, INF, short for infinity, minus infinity, right? Just -INF will actually literally mute it. I mean, you could just do that in your OS and just, you know, click the speaker icon on it in the thing. But yeah, more you know. But I believe Source Engine, at least some branches of it, have a ability to set volume in dB. But yeah, I always thought shit like that was pretty interesting. But yeah, these lectures I've had up 2008 when these came out, I would have been watching them. And that, you know, like I mentioned the anime shit a second ago, I was watching anime a ton then as well. I've still got Ichigo Mashimoto DVDs. I've still got, you know, Haruhi Suzumiya DVDs. I don't know if I have much else. I bought those at FYE, you know, when that motherfucking store still existed. You know, do malls even exist anymore? I don't know. But yeah, I was pretty heavy into anime, and it's not that I'm not anymore. I just it's one of those things I'd prefer to leave kind of, you know, just a happy memory and not have it motherfucking polluted by, you know, the modern terrorism. I don't know. I like to keep it as like kind of like a true nostalgia kind of thing. But you know, I'm not a weeb either, because I was never fascinated with Japanese culture. It's like, you really think it's not any, like, there's no way that it's not just as lame as like living in the United States or whatever, right? It's like, you know, was that Fragmaster video he made years ago? There was some Final Fantasy game, and it was like the first that was going to be on a non-Nintendo system. It was going to be the 360, and you know, it would have been about 2008-ish, something like that. And he, you know, Fragmaster, you know, he did a lot of voices for like Flash animations on Planet Half-Life or something awful. You've probably heard his voice before. But he was playing a character, and he's like, has a petition to get that new Final Fantasy game to not come out on the Xbox, but, you know, he's in character, he's like freaking out about it. But there's like one point, and he's like, I don't know if you're aware of Japanese culture, I'm an expert. You know, and motherfuckers really do act like that. It's like they've never, you know, they love Japan more than Japanese motherfuckers, and they've never even been there. They think it's all fucking, ramen and dakimakuras and fucking whatever. Fucking lame ass. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, I had a DVDs of that, and I was thinking about that earlier because I've been thinking more about technical topics, and I don't know. I've got a USB DVD player. I could probably try plugging into this thing. I want to try to find a USB Blu-ray drive because I got a bunch of Blu-rays, and I don't know. It would just be nice to be able to. Well, I don't know. The problem is the software I had years ago. I mean, I'm not paying them. So they closed down supposedly because they got a cease and desist. They reopened as a new company. And then they said people like me who paid for a lifetime subscription, oh, that doesn't count anymore. You have to buy a new one. No, we can't bring it over to it. Says no, fuck you. I didn't pay $170 or sorry, 170 euros because it had to fucking be, translated or whatever into euros, in 2008 or whatever, for a lifetime subscription just for you to fuck me like that. No, you can go to hell. Although I think most of the Blu-rays I got now, there's probably free software. The keys are probably already available for it. Early on, it made sense to get payware shit because it was just, decrypting it was a lot harder. I tried using open stuff to like generate the keys myself, and I don't know. I never managed to get it to work. But nowadays, a lot of they kind of catalog the decryption keys, and it's not really an issue now, or at least I don't think it is. But I don't even know if they make USB Blu-ray drives. It'd be cool if they did. Although I could imagine, especially with Riplock, having to try to transfer a 50 gig DVD Blu-ray, to the disc over USB. It's like, yeah, I'm sure that'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, I started looking at these old, lectures. It's some like online lecture thing for some like university in India. I think it's several places actually. Hold on. Let's see. So this one is this one says Madras. The other ones I was watching, they were apparently from some university in Kharagpur, or however the fuck you say it. Yeah, I've been watching this shit forever. I always thought it was funny back in the day when motherfuckers would complain about Indian text boards, like, I can't understand what they're saying. And it's like, I mean, I understand them fine, but maybe it's because I spent my teenage years watching like Indian lecture series. Dude, they're like full lectures, like a whole, university, like a year's worth of university lectures, like the whole course, right? So it's like 30 hours, and there's 4 separate courses I have downloaded right now. I used to have a lot more shit years and years ago on DVDs or on my hard drives, but they don't exist anymore, and I'm pissed off now because YouTube has basically made it impossible to download shit anymore. So I remember the switch from YouTube DL to YT DLP. Now even that's not working. They want me to just use your your sign in, use your cookies to. It's like, why should I have to do that? Why don't you just write your fucking program to get around that? Oh, well, we can't do it because it's like, yeah, okay, bullshit. All right, they could do it before. Like I said, I think a lot of this is just they're just essentially in the pockets of, they tube. So they get motherfuckers on there that just are gonna not circumvent the shit on purpose because they're getting paid by YouTube to not do it, to try to, I don't know, sell, if they have you on the website, even some motherfuckers using download programs like that probably are still dumb fucks that don't have ad blockers and shit like that, or, they're trying to funnel people into fucking, you know, YouTube Premium, or I don't know, whatever the fuck they call it. It's like, you motherfuckers were able to do it before. I remember for several years, it would just bypass age restriction. Nowadays, again, you have to log in, give it your, well, used to, you could actually just store your login info, or actually have it run through the command line. Just have it in there, your username and password. Well, that doesn't work anymore. You have to load your cookies, I think. Actually, I don't even think that works anymore. I think doing that could get you, like, banned. I don't know. It's bullshit. But there's tons of shit like this that, I would download it, but, now I basically can't. I'm at the whim, of the, psychotic child molesters, corporate terrorists. Like, they don't have enough, But, watching those, lectures, making me think about other stuff from that time. So, my days of listening to Carmack keynotes, QuakeCon, John Carmack's, keynotes where he'd, go on about graphics technology or whatever bullshit. Which he got over that pretty fast. So I remember 2005-ish, I started listening to it. No, actually, I think it was in 2004. I ended up discovering them because I was so fascinated with Doom and unified lighting and shadows and, normal maps and bullshit like that. By the way, a bump map and a normal map are different. So the easy way to say is that a bump map is one-dimensional and a normal map is three-dimensional. That is to say, a normal map kind of defines the lighting in 3 dimensions. But, I don't know, they're a little bit more detailed than just a regular straight-up bump map. However, you might hear normal maps referred to as .3 bump maps, or you might see normal mapping listed as .3 bump mapping. Yeah, so dot refers to the cross product. And so in this case, instead of having the single vector of a bump map, which is essentially like the Z value, it's like elevation away from the surface. With a bump map, you have 3 vectors, right? So you essentially have, lighting kind of moving away from and inward of the surface, and then lighting information for both, like, left to right and top to bottom, right? So you got 3, and then the lighting is computed from the dot product of those three vectors, which is why it's called .3 bump mapping. Although normal mapping these days is the most common term, and actually another old school term is polybump mapping. I believe polybump was some type of 3D design software's version of normal map. Their software for generating normal maps. I believe it's some software or a function in a software package called polybump. Maybe it was Maya or 3ds Max or something, some bullshit. I don't know. But there's an old tech demo kind of thing of Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay, where they were talking about it. If you look up Escape from Butcher Bay polybump mapping, or polybump normal mapping, or whatever, you'll probably find it. It's this narrated video. It's showing how normal maps are made, and the guy's talking about it, right? But that's what he says, like right at the beginning. He's like, normal mapping, sometimes referred to as polybump mapping, is a blah blah blah, right? But yeah, basically what they do is they take a really high polygon mesh, super detailed, and then they create a low poly version that'll actually be in the game, right? So, if the character in the game is 5,000 polygons, the high poly one could be millions, but they have software that computes the difference between the triangles of the high poly one and the triangles of the low poly one, and encodes those surface variation differences into the normal map, right? And so each texel of the normal map is it's a 3-channel map, and each texel describes XYZ differences between the two, right? And so when you run the game, the per pixel lighting, it's computing the surface lighting characteristics pretty much as if it were the high res one, which is, it's not perfect, you don't get self shadowing or shit like that, but like on the surface, right? But it's pretty good. I remember back in the day when steep parallax mapping was a new thing. Parallax mapping always looked kind of weird. Like, if you ever played Fear, the original one, 2005, it was you'll notice it, like, it'll look like there's a pretty good amount of depth to it, but if you like get near like an oblique angle, so you're like kind of like get up next to the wall and look towards the big crater that the bullets make in that game, it'll just look really weird. Steep parallax mapping was a way to kind of improve the appearance of parallax maps at steep angles like that. Although it had its own kind of like rippling kind of artifact that was, I don't know, it was weird too. Crisis had steep parallax mapping. I don't remember anything before Crisis that had steep parallax mapping. I'm sure there was something, but yeah, anyway, because I've been thinking about all this bullshit, I've been watching these, the lectures from this Indian, university lecture series channel on YouTube. Thinking more about DVD encoding, and naturally I think about anime. Another reason I thought about it is I was listening to this, this U.S. grindcore band called Deterioration, and in my folder for them, one of the splits they have is a split with another American band called it's one guy, it's a solo act called Hokago Grind Time. And so I got his half of that as well. And then the other thing I have from him is, what was it called? Fuck. Well, actually, shit, I can just look it up. So I'm a media player right behind the window of Soldier of Fortune 2. I play my shit in a window, by the way. I pretty much do everything in a window. I basically never full screen shit. Let's see. Bakyun Safide, Moe to the Gore. Yeah. But anyway, since I saw, I didn't listen to this today, but I remembered it because of the, the split he's got with Deterioration. Deterioration actually has multiple members. There's two guys that are brothers. So it's an actual band, but this thing's, this guy's just a solo act. It's kind of funny too, because he like just did kind of just like regular grindcore shit, whatever, and he had some like anime inspired track, and that was something, I believe it's on his Bandcamp. He said people were like loved it so much, and he was getting inundated with emails begging him to make a full album or whatever. And if you look at the album cover for Bakunsafide, it's got him on it with his fucking Ibanez or Ibanez or fucking whatever, 7. Is that 7 string? Fucking cuck. Yeah. But he's standing in front of, weeb shit. But he's like looking at the camera, like he's like, what did I get myself into? It's kind of funny. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like porno grind especially is like super obsessed with anime. It's like especially Guro. Like if you ever heard of that Czech band Z guy. There you go. Yeah, apparently Czechs are like really into Japanese shit. Like there was that one guy, the sumo wrestler Takanoyama, I think. He was a Czech sumo wrestler. This dude was 100 kilograms body weight, competing with dudes where, it's like a sumo wrestler under 150 kilograms is kind of laughable. But this dude is 100 kilograms, right? He's like 220. And he's throwing around motherfuckers that are 350, 400 pounds, 450, right? He's got one with his Georgian wrestler, Gagamaru. That dude's like at least 200 kilograms. You can find, it's Takanoyama, right? I hope I'm not fucking that up. Yep. Takanoyama Shuntaro. Alright, hold on, that's not the one I was looking for, I don't think. Yeah, anyway, you go watch compilations of him on YouTube. It's pretty nuts. And the dude, like I said, he's 100 kilograms, but he's like, he's not like super shredded, but he's fucking jacked. Weirdly, apparently he got in trouble for taking insulin. He's before my time, really. So I never saw him when he was actually wrestling, but apparently he got like cited or whatever by the sumo turbo nerds for taking insulin. But it's like his fucking trainer or whatever was the one who suggested him to take it specifically because he's motherfucker's 100 kilograms, right? I mean, he wasn't having no problems, but I don't know. Anyway, dude was fucking built 100 kilos, is wasn't, I don't know. It was pretty nuts, and apparently he had a judo background, and he is one of the more technical fighters, probably obvious, because I mean, you weigh half as much as the other guy, you probably have to come up with some fancy moves. Actually, I have a video compilation of this shit I'm looking at right now. Sorry, I had to download it. I don't know. Yeah, anyway, Czech sumo wrestler. But yeah, I don't know. So, I didn't really think about it because I mean, a Czech band having like Guro themed porno grind, that is just so common with like porno grind shit to have just this anime fetish that I guess I didn't really think about it. But yeah, apparently Czechs, there's like they're kind of like more weebs over there than I would have thought there'd be. But I guess that guy's proof. I wish there'd be more like that. And yeah, like right there, you know, Gagamato just, you know, just shoves him out. It's kind of not surprising. I mean, yeah. I think that's bullshit. It's like, oh, you can't take insulin. Like, anybody really thinks Terunofuji's not fucking taking, you know, every steroid in the fucking book. You can find videos of that dude benching pretty decent weight on YouTube. I think he's got a video doing like 200 kilos. I mean, that dude weighs 200 kilos, you know, something like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, just that thing about Hokago grind time just made me think about how, you know, anime obsessed those weirdos are. There's tons of anime samples and shit like that. But yeah, so that made me think about anime. I used to encode DVDs and bullshit. Like, I would take my DVDs, rip them. Haruhi Suzumiya pissed me the fuck off because it's mixed content. And what that means is essentially you've got telecened and interlaced stuff on top of anime, which is already dupes anyway, right? It's like if it's on twos, you're lucky, you know. So it's like 24 picture rate, but then, you know, really the animation is more like 12 FPS most of the time. But then, you know, you can, I don't know, it's just bullshit and ass. But yeah, I used to fuck with that. I remember using Aigi sub. I guess that's how you're supposed to pronounce it. AEGISUB, or was it supposed to be Aegis? I don't know. I really don't know. But I would actually rip the subtitle file off the DVD, load it into that program. It had optical character recognition, which did an okay job, but you had to go through and kind of manually correct it. And then also I would sit there and it wouldn't get the timing right necessarily. So I'd have to go in there and fuck with the actual subtitle timing. I wonder if I even still got that on here anywhere. Oh, I do. That's cool. Yeah. Ass. Motherfucker, I'll kick your ass. All right. Yeah, .ass. I don't know why it was like that. So Substation Alpha was a pretty common soft sub format. It could be either .ssa or .ass. So, you know, naturally, if you're feeling particularly flagrant, you just or fragrant, I guess you'd, you know, go with .ass. That totally was there just for people to be able to make the extension, you know, .ass. But yeah, fucking with that was bullshit. I loved when Blu-ray became more common because then you got progressive Blu-rays or progressive anime. Even if it was upscales and all, it didn't matter. You know, it's just having it progressive was a huge improvement. But I think it's funny because, yeah, this Hokago grind time artist, like on this Bakunsified, yeah, that's the shit. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are, I mean, Bakunsified Moe to the Gore is already a reference to a Carcass album, right? I don't actually remember the original title. I'll look that up and say. But anyway, this one right here it's a reference to Akarin from Yuri Yuri, and it's called Ruptured in Akarin, but that's a reference to a Carcass song called Ruptured in Purulence, right? It's like bullshit like that. What's the album they're referring to? Or, well, the album name is a reference to a song. Yeah, here we go. Piosified, Rotten to the Gore. There you go. Kind of forgot about it for a second there. Yeah. The cool part of doing it this way, I can just look straight at my computer's bullshit. Pretty gay, but yeah. One of these songs is called Emma's from Moa. Yeah. But yeah, so Octarine, she was always my favorite. I don't know. Like I said, when I was still a incel, I actually hated a lot of these anime. For one of the reasons I stopped watching it is because they always have the so-called happy ending at the end of the fucking season, and I'm pretty sure Yuri Yuri was one of them. Where like I always liked Akarin because she was like nobody noticed her, nobody gave a shit about her, whatever. But I'm pretty sure at the end of the first season they pair her with somebody, or maybe it's the second season. I don't remember. But I remember watching it. It just pissed me the fuck off, and I was like, all right, fuck this. I'm tired of seeing this bullshit. Whatever. I try to keep that bullshit as like a pleasant memory or whatever. Oh, come on, fuck them. Right. Yeah, like I said, I don't really have. Wait, what? Image load failed. I don't know why I would care about that. Right, anyway, yeah. So I worked out tonight. It's just, the weather currently is just too dangerous to try to drive anywhere. I wouldn't want to do it even if I had a vehicle that wasn't a question mark. But whatever, I got my own weights still. Technically, it's just a pain to use them, and it's like whatever. I don't want to just totally not do anything. But the other day I'd done just my clean to press heavy, and the last time I did it was actually at the gym, and yeah, last time I did it was actually at the gym. I think it was the 12th. I don't know, it was like a week ago, some bullshit. And I meant to do 160 3x6. I ended up getting 1x6, 1x5, 1x4, and which was kind of fucking annoying. But I did a fourth set of 3 reps just to get the total to 18. And then a couple days ago, I did my like heavy day for press. Just set my own weights up just to do that. It's like whatever stuff. I'm just cleaning off the ground. It's not that much bullshit involved, so whatever. I just did it. And that time I got basically the same reps as before. A set of 6, a set of 5, and a set of 4. I was like, I decided to just leave it at that though and not do a 4th set. And I guess, next week I'll try again. But I don't know. It is annoying. However, the way I'm looking at it currently is that it's sort of a proxy for telling me that the cut is actually going well. Because your strength is gonna go down on a cut, no matter how low or how like small the deficit is. If you're losing weight, you're just not in a good environment for strength training to start with. And I mean, whether you like it or not, if you're losing weight, you're losing muscle. All right. Even on real slow cuts, yeah, it'll be mostly fat, but you're still going to lose muscle. It's impossible to avoid. Even motherfuckers on steroids still lose muscle in a cut to some extent. But, I don't know. My current plan for the the clean depresses, I'll just stick with that weight, and I'll just keep trying to get 160 3x6. Although if I don't get it next time, I think what I might do is back off, maybe 5 pounds, 10 pounds maybe, and just kind of, I might just be stagnated, because this would be the third time, well, I guess the second time I've worked with this weight. I don't know. But anyway, that was all I did the other day. And then tonight was my heavy row. So I did 255. These are pounds, by the way. 255 for 3 sets of 5 on the row. And it was 3 singles of the deadlift as well. Because what I do is, a set is like, a deadlift single and then a set of 5 of the barbell row. I just do them back to back like that. And after I did that, I stripped the weight down to 85 pounds. And I wanted to do both my squat and my press. And so the way I did it was I cleaned the weight up, kind of push press it up over my head behind me onto my, shoulders, and did my set of squats. So 80 pounds, 3x5, and the end of each set I would like push press it back over to the front of me, and then do my set of 6 with the the press part, and then set it back down. So that part went all right, which kind of surprising. It's only 85, but whatever. I guess we'll just see what happens. Although, like I said, it's just been so nuts lately, where the West Coast is on fire, and then the East Coast is an ice cube. But then, oh wait, the West Coast is an ice cube too, because like I seen the other day where it's like one of the interstates in Oregon. And actually, I think it might have been when I drove before. But one of the interstates in Oregon, they had a pileup, and then like cars stopped behind it. It was like 100 fucking cars or some bullshit. It's like, damn. And then after California burns down, then here come the fucking floods and like mudslides and shit. And then the East Coast, like I said, it was an ice cube, and well, now it's flooding. And motherfuckers are like literally dying in floods. That's like I said, you can't fuck around with water, dude. Alright. Fucking Bruce Lee said be like water. Well, water will fucking kill you. Alright. Real easy. And like back in, I think it was 2017, son of a bitch. I hate Windows 11. It's been pestering me to update forever. I finally figured out a workaround to get it to just not actually update. Some dude had, wrote a batch file that basically automatically constantly changes your active hours. That way, from Windows perspective, you're always active. Just so it won't, fuck you over like that. However, after a couple weeks, now it keeps popping up the notification, oh, you need to update. And it's like, okay, I guess it's not going to force it on me because I'm using that batch, file. But I wish I could figure out how to get that to fuck off. I hate Windows 11 so fucking much. I've never seen an operating system this fucking bad in my life. Alright. And I started using Linux in 2007. The first distro I used was Ubuntu, I believe. Well, I know it was Ubuntu, but I believe the version was Hardy Heron, I think. I'm gonna actually look that up real quick. But I believe Ubuntu 8. I believe, okay, released 2008. All right, maybe it was 2000. Yeah, I think it was 17 when I first used it, so that makes sense. If it was 2008, what was before it though? See, does it say? See, Ubuntu releases. Hold on, where's the? I like how they have alliterative naming for the versions of Ubuntu, right? It's like they had Hardy Heron, Intrepid Ibex. I think that was the last one I used. But now I see, right, Focal Fossa, Jammy Jellyfish, Noble Numbat. That's cute. Those are the more recent ones. Where's old versions, though? Let's see. 18. Let's see. Go back to the other. All right, well, does it say what the version was? Where's the name of it? Here we go. Maybe it was, yeah, Hardy Heron was 2008. Gutsy Gibbon was the one before it in 07. I don't think I might have installed it at some point, but pretty sure Hardy Heron was the first I used. Yeah. So that was kind of like summer 2008, or well, I guess, spring. Yeah, it says April 08. And then, yeah, the next one in October that year was Intrepid Ibex. Jaunty Jackalope. I remember hearing about that. But yeah, after that, I didn't really use it. Yeah, I remember there was this bitch on YouTube named Nixie Pixel. And she was pretty popular for, I wonder if it'll show up on the audio where I just turned on my little mini heaters. Dude, it's like 5 degrees outside. Or, well, I think right now it's 15. But it says it feels like 5 with the wind chill. But yeah, so I don't have my fan on right now. Even with I got 2 pairs of wool socks on, but it's still pretty cold. Anyway, there's this bitch on YouTube called Nixie Pixel, and she had, again, about 2008ish, 2009ish, she had a bunch of videos on Ubuntu, and needless to say, she was popular because females just always get attention, But yeah, I think the last time I used a Linux distro, like, essentially full time, was Linux Mint. Well, I know it was, was it? Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah, I used Mint. I don't remember what version it was. I think it was see if Wikipedia's got a thing on that. I believe it was 2015. Or, well, I know I have a screenshot from 2015. That where I was using. In fact, it's probably, I believe it's called mint.png actually. Yeah, here we go. Let's see. Yep. I got to make this the fucking thumbnail for the video. Yeah, let's see. What's the date on this? February 16th, 2016. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I've got the desktop. First of all, it's 800 by 600. I don't know why the fuck. Maybe I was nerd mode and like running on CRT or whatever. I still had CRTs in 2015, I believe. Or I had at least one, I think. No, actually, maybe I had it open in VirtualBox. Maybe that's why it's so low res. But which desktop environment am I using here? I don't remember. I think I used Mate a lot for Mint. Maybe it was it. This one might be Cinnamon. I don't remember. But anyway, it's the all it is just desktop. There's a terminal open. Well, first of all, the background is a picture of Mike O'Hearn and some stupid motivational. But then in front of it, I got this terminal open and I put in sudo apt-get install gains. Yeah. So, all right. Let's see, when did I say this was? 2016. That's like right when I started getting into lifting. I'd read about it kind of off and on for a couple years. But that was when like I'd already like I don't know, I said February, right? Let me check again. Sorry, forgot. February. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I started going to the YMCA June of that year, I believe. I went there for a couple months, and asshole that like the manager wanted to give me shit for not wearing shoes when I was squatting. He's like, all right, well, I'll wear, next time I bring my skate shoes, and he's like, no, you need to put them on now. I was like, all right, fuck this. And first this bitch motherfucker was hovering over me while I was benching. And so to put it in perspective, after a couple, it was actually, I say, a month and a half, 2 months, and I was total fuck around-itis too. I weighed 215, I believe, and I was already doing singles with 240 on the bench. But this was a day I think I was doing 240 or 245. This asshole comes over during my set and he's fucking hovering over me. It's like, don't ever fucking do that. All right, don't ever do that. All right, just say you stupid motherfuckers. But I don't know. Anyway, when he went to pull that pose, oh, you need to put your shoes on now. I was like, fuck this. Of course, it's the same bullshit. Well, what about all those other guys that don't wear it? It doesn't matter. No, excuse me, because that's the one day I came in where it wasn't 6 a.m. Fucking piece of shit. But after I got finished, I just went up to the front desk. I was like, all right, I'm canceling my shit. Oh, well, what is it? It's like and dude, I had just paid that month, like when I got there. Stupid motherfucker. But yeah, after that, that's when I started going to Anytime Fitness, which was awesome because YMCA, and I'm pretty sure they didn't open up till fucking like 6 a.m. Some bullshit. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, this motherfucking thing is like Mike O'Hearn, and then I got a terminal window in front of us, like sudo apt-get install gains. Yeah, be nice if that was an actual Linux program that actually installed the dry muscle or whatever, fucking wet muscle, whatever. So 2016, what version would that have been? Do they even have it like that? Let's see. 2016, yeah, Feb. January 16 would have been 17.3. Rosa. Is it saying that? I can't see it. Yeah, I can't see in the thing where it says it. Maybe I should have printed that in the terminal, like the the fucking system info, for like showing like the distro version or whatever. Yeah. So that was neat, I guess. Actually, believe it or not, I've actually installed a Gentoo before. Gen 2 is the name of a penguin, by the way. That's the point of it. Because like the mascot of Linux is a penguin, and a Gen 2 is a type of penguin. Yeah. Funny enough, installing Gen 2 was easier than a lot of shit. One of the big ones is, those fucking non-free dick fucks. It's like, at least at the time, if you had an Intel Wi-Fi chipset, good luck. Hope you're not on Debian, asshole. I don't know why I can never get the like Intel Wi-Fi chipset drivers. Like, I'm talking like out of the fucking, Debian repo to fucking work. I don't know why. Whatever. Stupid. But yeah, that bitch Nixie Pixel. Oh, I have a vagina. Hey, look, all right, I have tits, right? Ubuntu, am I right, guys? Oh, I'm such a nerd, right? Like, tee-hee, tee-hee. Tee-hee. That's how these fucking whores always said, fuck them. I mean, she was alright, but still, it's like, if it had been me in those fucking videos, nobody would ever fucking watched them. Blast from the past. I might. Do I have VirtualBox installed right now? Let me see. I guess so. I see it in program data. It's not program files. I don't know. I guess I don't have it installed right now. I'll install your mom's cock, bitch. Yeah, I don't have it installed right this second. Yeah, that sucks. I might reinstall that at some point. Oh yeah. Let's see, Karmic Koala. That's when they moved to Grub 2. Yeah, Grub was such bullshit. It's like you have Windows installed, you install Linux on another drive. You got to install Grub because, Windows really doesn't like other operating systems. It's like if you installed Windows after Linux, you'd have to reinstall Grub. What did that stand for? Grand Unified Bootloader or some bullshit. I don't know. For me, it was always easier to just install Linux to a separate drive instead of a separate partition, because then you just go to the boot options and just pick the drive with Linux on it. Way easier than having to bother with Grub bullshit. Suck my cock. Let's see. Hold on. Was it? Yeah. Yeah, Grub, short for Grand Unified Bootloader. I don't know, they kind of shit-dicked it on that because that's not even a recursive acronym. It's like GNU stands for GNU's not Unix, right? But Grub is like just Grand Unified Bootloader. It's not even an initialism, it's an abbreviation. Whatever. A bunch of ass rats. But yeah, I remember Karmic Koala. I mean, I might have used it. Dude, I miss the days. Especially, I remember that, the fucking wallpaper of Hardy Heron. And then also the one for Intrepid Ibex wasn't as good, in my opinion. But yeah. The blast from the motherfucking pad. You can tell these are taken in VirtualBox because, they're in 800 by 600. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. Yeah. Wouldn't mind going back about 20 years. Dude, this world sucks. I fucking hate this world. This world's a piece of shit. Alright, this world's evil. And I wish I could go back to being, 16, 17 and thinking like computers were like, I don't know, like even when I was a kid, teenager, I felt like computers were like my last chance to find somebody to talk to or whatever, and it's like, no, just a bunch of normal fags like everywhere else, right? It's pretty much almost right when I got on the internet. So 03, but then I got broadband in 04. Within a few years, it was just pure normal fagified, right? So it's like I just said, these cunts, they're like, oh, I'm such a nerd, tee hee, right? It's like, fuck you. But that's what it is, right? All of a sudden, being a nerd is fashionable. I fucking hate you humans. You just colonize and fucking usurp everything. Let's see, Hardy Heron. Oh yeah, Brazzero disk burner. I forgot about that. I used Image Burn a lot back in the day. Now it probably doesn't even fucking work. Yeah, it was pretty neat. I remember the days when Handbrake actually had like libcss in it, so I could actually decrypt the DVDs, but then they took it out in later versions. Bunch of fucking shit dicks. Yeah, I think I used Gutsy Gibbon, maybe. I don't know. Hardy Heron was the one I remember the most, so with Ubuntu, I mean. But I used Ubuntu, I used Mint. That was later on. But Ubuntu, I messed with Arch. And Arch Linux sucks, alright? Like, you shouldn't need another computer open to the Arch wiki just to be able to see what shit to type in just to install it to the fucking disk. It's like, fuck off. Alright, like I said, Gentoo was easier than Arch. And it's like the me was like, install Gentoo. But yeah, I literally installed Gentoo as well. There was some other ones. Kali Linux, I've messed with it before. I mean, it kind of doesn't. It's really not useful, actually. I think I might have a screenshot of me somewhere, like the desktop of me, like in Kali Linux, maybe somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the script kiddie shit, it's stupid because you download a rainbow table, it's like, congrats, here's your useless, 300 gigabyte rainbow table, And then if you want to brute force it, you may as well not bother. Motherfuckers try to, download Kali Linux to fucking like hack a Wi-Fi. And it's like, dude, you're better off just guessing the fucking password, really, because rainbow tables is just never going to be anything worth a fuck. And brute forcing, I mean, unless you got a bazillion-dollar GPU accelerated Beowulf cluster, it's not going to fucking matter. Plus, modern Wi-Fi, setups, kind of make that shit impossible. Cloning MAC addresses and bullshit like that, or spoofing them, it's only goes so far. Whatever. But yeah, this Kali Linux is just script kiddie shit. I don't know. InfoSec has always been fucking lame. That's one of the newer ones. Hirsute Hippo. Impish. Indri. I don't know. Alright, whatever. Gay shit. But yeah, I'd rather go back to a day like that. I don't like every day of my life just being further confirmation that, Ted Kaczynski was beyond correct on everything. It's like, I don't fucking blame him at all. I'd go fucking live in a fucking cabin too. Grow a beard and then shave it off or fucking whatever, That's all life really is, just a big motherfucking MK Ultra. psyop. It's just this world is, and that's another bullshit. There's they don't do MK Ultra anymore. Yeah, it's like saying that the KGB doesn't exist anymore because they changed it to FSB. It's like, wow, they changed the name. That totally makes a difference. This world's just stupid. I'm sick of everything. Everything is just. I'd give anything to go back to that. It was so much more simple. First of all, a lot of shit didn't even need an email address. There was tons of shit you could do you didn't need an email address for. Yeah, they might still want us like your ID or whatever, but it wasn't even an expectation to have an email address. An email address was like kind of like a weird extra or whatever. You know what I mean? Nowadays, like for example, if you want to get a storage unit, you have to, you have to have an email. Shit like that. It's just fucking annoying. I also noticed a lot of storage units now you can't pay cash. Well, because cash is private, They don't want a paper trail anymore. They want, an electronic trail, right? Because those don't ever go away. One of the things I mentioned, and I'm still going to write about it explicitly at some point, I just don't feel like it right now, was like I looked at one of my email accounts, because it's the one that I normally use to, talk to motherfuckers if I'm looking at a room for rent. And I've had it since at least 2017. I don't think I had it earlier than that. I think it was 2017. So I remember like the first room for rent I ever had, I used that email for. And I made it explicitly for that, although I did use it for a few other things. But that Gmail account is so old that, like I said, back then, Gmail didn't demand a phone number. You just made the account. You could add one. You could set up two-factor if you wanted to. But now it's like required. Like, you can't not give them one. There was a period for a while there a few years ago where you could kind of like at random almost. Although it seemed like maybe one or two a month. It was probably IP based, but or maybe like IP range based or something. You could make a couple accounts where it wouldn't ask you for an email, a phone number, or if you set it to you being like 13 or less, it wouldn't ask. Okay, well the problem was, if you set it to being 13 or whatever, yeah, you couldn't, you didn't have to give it a phone number, but you were also restricted on DayTube, because of course, so, you wouldn't be allowed to watch age-restricted bullshit, because it actually looks at the age of the account. And then on those couple, you might be able to luck out on a month to get them to where, like, it just didn't ask for a phone number when you set it up. You think, all right, yeah, I managed to get one without the phone number. It's like, nah, fuck you. What'll happen is a week or two into it, it'll pop up all of a sudden demanding a phone number and basically lock you out of everything until you give them one. It's a bunch of motherfucking bullshit. Yeah, I miss that. I miss when burner app numbers. So that's the thing. Back in the day, first of all, at a point, and we're talking this ended in 2019. I remember this no longer working on Tinder it was like February 2019. It wouldn't work. By that point, it wouldn't work anymore. They'd want a phone number. Well, you install the burner app. It wants an email, okay, but you could just create a Gmail with no real phone number put on it. By the way, Gmail knows if it's a burner app number, and they won't let you use it, because the burner app numbers is a separate set of numbers from the so-called real ones, right? And so every every company that cares about this is going to have that list. And so if you now if you tried setting up a Gmail with a burner app, it won't let you. But back then you didn't have to give a number. So you install the burner app and it needs an email. Okay, well, you just make up a Gmail account, log in with that. Here's your number, right? Now burner apps are useless because you install the burner app, it wants an email. Okay, well, it's probably not. That's another thing. If you try to use like anonymous emails, again, they know about those. They want to know who you are, right? You're not allowed to have privacy. Privacy is dead, and it's always been dead. But like on the internet, there was some hope, But that's the point of this. No, it's not to do with it's safety and security. No, it's all bullshit. They just want to know who you are, so that they can correlate everything. And, motherfuckers used to, revel in the ignorance of, well, the NSA and blah, blah, blah could never go through all of it. It's like, well, now here's your motherfucking AI to do it for them, right? So stick your foot in your mouth, I guess. But, back then, well, now they need an email address. Okay, well, the anonymous ones aren't going to work. All right, or they're almost guaranteed not to. So you go to make a Gmail, you probably want to make a separate one just to, kind of separate out everything, right? Okay, well, it wants a phone number. Okay, well, I mean, do you have a second phone, right? Because if it has to be a real one, if you change your phone number, cool, it's a different number, but I mean, now that different number is your main phone number, right? And, you better hope you didn't have anything reliant on that other one, right? So chances are you're going to just, kind of throw your hands up and use your regular number. Okay, well, now everything's correlated. Now it doesn't matter. Yeah, sure, the motherfucker talking to you might not know all this other shit, but they do. And it's like, I don't get why this prison reality doesn't want me to have any privacy or anonymity. It's like, it's none of your fucking business who I am or what I'm doing or what other shit I'm doing, right? It's like a couple years ago when I did, I tried that stupid vacation that, didn't work out. I tried to get a storage unit in Indiana, and dude, I called in, kind of reserved it. All I really had to do was go in and fill out the paperwork and hand them the money. And dude, I literally already signed for the fucking unit too. That's the thing. I'd already signed for it. All I had to do was pay them. And then I was like, y'all take cash, right? And it's like, oh no, unfortunately we don't. It's like, oh, okay, the woman on the phone said y'all did. It's like, well, it's alright, mistake. It's like, well, will y'all take a money order then for the first payment, and then I'll set my card up on it later. He's like, that'll work. And it's like, I was literally about to. It's like, oh, there's a Kroger. You just go down that way, turn, and whatever. All right, cool. I'll just go to Kroger and get a money order. As I was about to pull out of the fucking parking lot, the stupid asshole next to the cunt who had done her, they love to give you this like Truman Show choreographed experience, right? She's like driving me around, showing me around in the fucking golf cart thing, right? And as we're driving around the storage unit area, right, there's some guy that's like some kind of vehicle, I don't remember, like out of his unit, he's like working on it, and she's like, oh hey, so and so, and he's like they're talking to each other like as if they're like best friends or fucking whatever. Oh, look how happy go lucky we are here, all the fake smile bullshit, the directed on rails experience, right? The fucking Disney or like Disney World, Small World After All ride bullshit, And so we do that shit. I've already, and then, signing the paperwork, and like, again, it's already in my name. I already signed for it. I just got to pay them. And they won't take cash like I thought they would. All right, cool. So I'm going to get the money order. And before I've even, as I'm pulling out of the parking lot, the dude next to this cunt, who was the one that did the little fucking, charade, fucking, showing me around or whatever. The dude comes out and he's like, well, hold on. So, this and so basically, what it was apparently the address that I had given to sign up was for a UPS store box I had that I'd also signed up for there. Right. He's like, wait, hold on. Which of these addresses is yours? Because this address is for the, the UPS store. And I was like, yeah, that's the address that, whatever I said. And I remember this motherfucker said, well, he was, so basically he thought I was homeless. And I know because at some point, so he's grilling me about it. And he's like, oh, well, so which one of these is homeless? I mean, home. And I was like, fuck you. All right. And drove off. And like, here's the thing. Like, in the process of this, like, he actually asked me, so which one of these is where you sleep at night? And I was like, the one on my ID. All right. Well, it's like, if y'all are going to send me anything, well, then it can be sent over here while I'm here, right? If you're not going to send me anything in the mail, well, then put the driver's license address if that's what you care about. This motherfucker, see, what happened was they had already, this idiot had, like, decided I was homeless in his own child molester brain based off of how I was dressed, because I always dress cargo pants, pocket vests, right? Always have tons of pockets, always carrying all my shit. And yeah, I started doing that when I was homeless. All right. I learned that over my, multiple experiences being homeless. And I still dress like that. And I know motherfuckers are always looking at me as if I'm homeless, especially because I don't trim my beard or shave my beard or anything. So it's big and bushy. And then my hair is kind of long. It's not as long as it was a couple years ago, because I have shortened it over time, mostly just because it, the fan blows in my face and pisses me off, But so I know motherfuckers what they're thinking looking at me, right? So this child molester decided that I'm homeless, and so he goes to look up. I guess he notices the disparity between the address I gave to sign up and the address on my ID. It's like, well, dude, my ID's right there, right? But anyway, so he decided I must be homeless. He goes and looks up the address and because he told me that, oh, this is the UPS store down the street or whatever. It's like, yeah, I set that up to get my mail when I'm here, right? Because I plan on being there for a while. Which, of course, I ended up not being, because the hotel I'd been to when I was there originally in 2018 now had roaches. It's like, I never saw that ever when I was there. Now, of course, they're going to be there, right? Well, anyway, the thing is, dude, all I wanted was a storage unit to offload some of my shit in, so I wasn't just carrying it around all the time and fucking up my gas mileage. And this put strain on my suspension and all that led to the later issues I had where I, like I said, I got fucked over real hard in Atlanta later that year, robbing me fucking $8,000 for shit that they didn't actually fix. And then they also broke my windshield in the fucking cracked it in the process. Between it being there and me getting it back, all of a sudden it's got a fucking crack in the windshield. Right. And yeah, they're going to get repaid a visit. Don't, like I said, don't think because I haven't went to say hi again yet that I'm not going to. All right. But so they're responsible for that too now. But this motherfucker, he sits there like grilling me about it. He literally said that. It was like, which one of these is where you sleep at night? Dude, I wish I had said that shit. I was like, I don't know, motherfucker, where do you sleep at night? But you know what? I bet you would have been pissed about that, wouldn't he? this is the thing, and that's the point I was, by saying that, that's the point I was trying to make. Saying what I just said is like these motherfuckers want all this information on you, but they don't want you to have that information on them, right? How much shit it's like I gotta give you my full name, my address, right? My fucking driver's license or second proof of address or this or that bullshit, and in some cases social security numbers. Like, you want all this shit on me, but you don't want me to have that on you. Oh, I guarantee you that bitch motherfucker wouldn't want me to know where he sleeps at night. I said, don't worry, I'll find out. I said, I'll be back there too at some point. But that's what I'm sick of, all right? So, dude, it's none of your fucking business, all right? What do you care, right? What does it fucking matter to you? Again, it's their chance. It's their little Hitler moment. Oh, I get to control somebody, right? That's what their fucking little child molester brain is jumping up and down about, right? What this child molester thought is that, oh, I was homeless and he wanted to fuck me over, right? Of course, I wasn't homeless. Dude, I promise you, when I've been homeless, you would never know it. All right? You never would know it, ever, unless I told you. It's beyond piss simple to not be noticeable. I say, take a shower at the gym, take your clothes to a laundromat to wash them, right? Boom. No, now nobody will ever know. If you got a vehicle, at least, If you're like that dude in California when I broke down in Stockton in 2019, summer 2019, before I ended up going back to St. Louis for the second time. I was basically sitting at a Burger King for a couple weeks, and just at night after they closed, I'd limped. I'd managed to limp to dude. It was totally fucked. I actually still have pictures somewhere, where coolant was in the engine oil. Dude, it was like chocolate pudding in there. And man, I'm about to put on another pair of fucking socks. Holy fuck. I managed to I got it towed to a place. They looked at it and they said, oh, the engine's cracked in half or something. Now, I don't know if they meant the actual, like, I guess they meant like one of the cylinders or whatever. I don't know. They might have been the whole motherfucking block or whatever that was cracked in half, or maybe it was the head. I don't know. But there's like, all right, well, how much would that be to fix? It's like, oh, what they said is they'd have to get a whole new engine put in it, because like I said, it was like just straight up fucked. I was like, all right, well, how much would that be? And they said, oh, $3,500. And well, I didn't have $3,500. And anyway, so what I managed to do, I limped it to a storage unit there, and I signed up for it. And then my unit was indoor, which was pretty neat. But I limped it, kind of like limped it into the, through the gate, offloaded everything, limped, and then from there limped it out to a fucking Burger King. And dude, by the time I got to the Burger King, I was about to have a heat stroke. I actually have a voice recording I had made that I'd sent to somebody. I'd been sending them voice, there's like .amr format too. It's like Android format bullshit. But this particular one I had sent that I still have, dude, you could tell how confused I was sounding. Basically, I was delirious because I was about to have a heat stroke. But I recognized what was happening still. I was still there enough to realize that. And when I got to the Burger King, I pulled in the parking lot. I went inside. I ordered some food, and I got a drink cup. I paid for a soda. And filled it up with Sprite, just the regular, not the diet, but actual sugar in it. And then I took salt packets and dumped it in there. So I ate it, put a ton of salt in my food and sat there, refilling the, Sprite and putting salt in it. So getting a bunch of sugar and salt in me. And before long, and of course sitting in the air conditioning, I came back to. But it's like, yeah, I could have died that day, like for real. But at that point, trying to figure out what the fuck I was going to do, I was basically sitting in the Burger King all day. And I spent most of that time looking at like Craigslist, looking for rooms for rent, or trying to find jobs or whatever. But my one of my pay cards, I had like one more payment coming through, and when that came through, I like pre-booked a hotel in St. Louis, and then I booked a Greyhound to St. Louis, and then I took a Lyft to the San Joaquin RTD in Stockton, and I basically sat there all night waiting for the bus to show up, which was fun because dude, my bus was like it was like 6 fucking hours late or some bullshit. Or no, it was longer than that. It was like supposed to be there like 6 p.m. or some bullshit. Dude, it didn't show up till like 3 in the fucking morning. Yeah, it was fucked. But yeah, then it went from there to LA, and then from there, it went across, nominally east, eventually to St. Louis. The Greyhound station was at the airport, the St. Louis airport. It's like that's where it is, and I got a lift from there to actually a few miles away from where I was going, because you take a shorter trip, it costs less. It's like, all right, well, you get me down the highway to where I can walk, because there's sidewalks and shit, and I just walk the rest of the way. That fucking sucked, especially because my stomach was killing me, and yeah, it's not just carrying all your shit through that, and the weather sucked. It was all rainy and wet and nasty, and I was overdressed because it was cold before I got to St. Louis, and in St. Louis it was hot, and I'm sitting here with fucking thermals on and sweating like crazy. At one point I stopped at I sat down at a bus stop and took my clothes, like stripped off the layers and like put my pants back on. Like I still had my underwear on, but kind of stripped layers off, and it was raining. It just sucked. But and then I had 2 weeks at that hotel, and I was desperately looking for fucking jobs. Thankfully, the area around it, there was a lot of shit in walking distance, but it was a lot of restaurants, And at that point, dude, it's like you can't, like I said, beggars can't be choosers in this context. And so it's like if I could find a janitor job, whatever. No job was beneath me. A lot of motherfuckers talking about, oh, you can't find work. It's like, no, there's a lot of jobs they just don't want to do, But I would have taken anything at that point. And I found a couple fast food jobs. There's actually a place that I had got an interview for that was supposed to be changing tires. But I'd already got one of the other jobs, and the hours they'd want me to work conflicted. I don't know. I should have tried to figure out a way to take that and that job, and then the third job. I don't know. I should have tried to find a way to make 3 jobs work. Maybe I could have got just done Waffle House, like try to see if they would give me days between the days I had at Taco Bell or whatever. I don't know. Taco Bell is essentially nights. So, I mean, my shift started like 4. But, I mean, they would let me stay for closing. So, even though it was technically part-time, it's like I was essentially getting full-time hours there. Or almost. I think I'd get like 38 or some bullshit. But, I mean, at that point, I was only working 3 nights a week, I think. And, you know, before, like, almost like the day before I quit, because of the manager being a fucking cunt, that fat ass white bitch. I'd asked for a 4th day. Now, if I got a 4th day and they let me keep closing up, you know, staying for closing, I probably would have been getting overtime at that point. And I was making, it wasn't bad. It was $10 an hour, I think. You know, and now you motherfuckers want $15 an hour to fucking work at fucking Taco Bell or whatever. Okay. I wish I had life as easy as you motherfuckers. But, it wasn't worth it because, like, well, I didn't find those 2 jobs until basically right when the time at my hotel was up. Now, if I had got the first one even a week sooner, because the way Waffle House worked is you could choose to get paid as a check or you could get paid out of the register, right? And if you got paid out of the register, there was no, like, grace period, right? It wasn't like, okay, your first week's pay you don't get till the week after, right? It's like delayed a week, right? No, you like literally get at the end of that week. So it's like, you know, I want that one, you know. And if I'd managed to get that even a week, you know, like a week earlier than I did, I could have kept the hotel room I had and could have just been paying it, you know, a few days at a time. And then once I had both jobs, I could have stayed there, you know, with air conditioning, without cockroaches, right? But of course, I ended up basically spending a week without sleeping, and you know, until I could save up enough money to, you know, $1,000 plus a $200 deposit for one of the. I'd never been in a hotel with cockroaches till I'd been at that one. That thing was so fucking nasty. Of course, now it's like every fucking one I've been to, even ones I'd been to years ago that were great before, now are loaded with roaches. You know. Now I go to Anytime Fitness, right? I seen one roach at an Atlanta fucking Anytime Fitness, and I knew right then, all right, Pandora's box just got opened. Now I'm definitely going to see one again. Sure enough, I've seen them again. The one I've been going to lately, I seen one at one point there. Is in the fucking middle of the weight area. I had just picked up a 45 and I saw it skittering across, and I just threw the fucking 45 on top of it. I guess I killed it because I didn't see anything after that. So I was like, all right, I guess, you know, somebody's got a surprise. But it's like I fucking knew it. And of course, dude, I'd see bugs in the bathroom a few times. And, you know, at that point you could be like, okay, maybe it was like something else or whatever. But when I seen that, like actually in the gym area, weight training area, I was like, all right, well, that's definitely roaches. Great. I should have known because a couple weeks, couple months, whatever, prior to that, I had seen a bug run across the ground, but it ran from like this little kind of wall section across in front of me. Well, I think it ran from like the water fountains to that, and I saw it go under the baseboard. I was like, all right, that's generally roaches are going to be the only thing that do that. But yeah, it's just, everything's just degraded. But yeah, it's like, why do these motherfuckers all want to have this shit on you? And but they don't want to give it to you, right? You could try to get a job, name, address, blah blah blah, and it's like, you first, motherfucker, right? Or like cops, they want to know all this shit on you. You got to prove it's your vehicle you're driving. Better hope you paid for registration and insurance, because paying for the shit already is not enough, right? You got to let them rob more of your fucking money. And then the Mercury Sable I have right now, 94, a nice little car, but when I bought it, I paid, I believe it was $1,600. Now I bought it. This is the only car I've ever bought from an individual instead of just like a dealer. So I had to get the title notarized, and then I get to the DMV just to find out that I have to pay more taxes than I could have, because, oh, well, you didn't also get the price notarized. It's like, really? They're going to shit dick you like that. So now I have to pay the fair market value, the taxes on the fair market value. It's like, how does getting it notarized, like somebody had to watch both of us sign it. What's the trick? Oh, I changed what the price said to try to fuck you over. It's like you're the one wanting to rob fictional currency from me, but you're worried about you getting fucked over. That's another thing I'm so tired of with humans. It's like these corporations, right? The shrinkflation shit, which you might have heard of, where you can't get half gallons of ice cream anymore. They're 48 ounces, right? You can't get pints anymore. Dude, you'll actually see shit like with ice cream. That's one a lot of people notice. Because I guess a lot of people are even fatter than me. I almost never eat ice cream. But now they've got 14-ounce containers of ice cream that they're calling a pint. It's like, nah, motherfucker, a pint is 16 ounces. They're literally trying to redefine it. It's like, how is that not fraud? You're calling it a pint, but it's only 14 ounces. That's not what a pint is, right? Or so much shit is just degraded, right? Like they, like with sauces, right? They water down the sauce. Don't water down the sauce, motherfucker. Just put less in it, all right? You want to make it 14 ounces instead of 16 or whatever for this. Okay, all right, whatever. But so they don't water it down. I noticed that the last time I tried to buy this one sauce I used to buy years and years ago, because it was like called like tangy bacon Catalina dressing or whatever. I used to eat a lot. I put on like turkey sandwiches and shit. Yeah, it sucks. I also used to do this weird, like I said, I'm a weirdo. One thing I would do is I'd take those imitation bacon bits and basically get a bowl full of those and just pour like a whole bottle of that tangy bacon Catalina on it and just mix it all up. And yeah, like I said, I do weird shit like that. It's like flaming hot Cheetos and cottage cheese. Like just, I don't know. I said I'm a fuck up. But I wanted to have like some nostalgia, because it's like, all right, it's current year. This world sucks. Let me try to relive the past and, try to get some bacon Catalina dressing. It's like, it's all watery now. It's like, dude. All right. Does that shit really work? Right? Do people not notice it's like, all right, the price went up a little bit, but the amount reduced. So they try to make what's really like a 30% increase in price look like a 15%, or like even like make a 60% look like 30. It's like, man, I guess it does work, or they wouldn't do it, But it's like, quit fucking up the measurement. And dude, now a bottle of Fairlife milk, and granted, they're still 52 ounces. I think. I mean, last time I checked, and they've always been like that. 2019, when I was drinking a ton of them, they were 52 ounces. All right, whatever. It's not. It's like a specialty thing. If it's not, be cool if it was just a half gallon, but whatever, right? Well, but here's the thing. In 2019, they were $2, which was why I was buying so fucking many of them. Now they want like over $5 for them. It's like, you're out of your fucking mind. Nah, you can keep that shit. I don't need like fancy milk that bad. And it's like these corporations, like, they really act like they're the ones struggling, right? It's like you're fucking them over, right? There's a lot of stuff. Like, for an example, I have this picture of a 50-pound bag of rice I had bought in July 2016. I know for sure on that because I was thinking about it earlier because I was looking up. Dude, I'll spend 10 hours a day researching prices on shit. You know, food and, you know, is a big one, but just a lot of shit. So I noticed shit like this. And so the 50-pound bag of rice I had bought in 2016 was $16.49. Okay, well, that same 50-pound bag of rice now is $26.99. Right, well, I did the math on it. So if the price had went up just to match inflation, it you know, so basically the nominal price was adjusted to match the real value, so to speak. You know, this, you know, economic nerd shit terminology. So nominal value is the price on the label, right? That's what you think of as price is nominal value. It's what you see on the little sign or whatever. And then the real value is, you know, what its value actually is, so to speak. I mean, it's all made up, so it's whatever, stupid. But anyway, if the price had gone up just to match inflation, then it would cost only maybe 22 something for the 50 pounds. So in the last 8.5 years, the currency has inflated like 32%, I think. But then they want to try to be sneaky and fuck you for an extra 24%. Like, actually, so like the current nominal value versus the previous one, well, you know, the one 8.5 years ago, is a 63% increase on the nominal value. Or actually, I think that's the real value, man. But yeah, so it's like, well, like, for an example, Walmart brand, they have them up to 20 pounds. I know for a fact what the price used to be because I bought like 200 pounds worth of rice back in, it was like 2021 to 2022-ish. And for a 20 pounder used to be $8.98. Now it's $11.14, I think. Yeah, $11.14. All right, well, if it had only gone up to match inflation for the last, you know, 2.5, 3 years, it would be like $10.13. So they want to rob you an extra 9%. Like, just inflating it's not enough, right? But again, like, you're the one taking from them. Like, that's really what these corporate criminals think in their own little, you know, demonic child molester brain. It's like you're fucking them over, right? Like, the end game of corporate terrorism is you just show up, give them infinite money, and get nothing in return and just fuck off, right? That's the end game for them. And no, capitalism's no different from communism. It's all central planning if you really understand what you're looking at. But now what's weird is I noticed this inversion where back when I bought those 20 pounders at Walmart of their rice, buying the 20 pound bags from them was actually like overall cheaper than buying 50 pound. Like, if I had bought 4 50-pound bags of this other one from this other store, it would have cost me more overall than if I had just bought, 10, 20-pound bags from Walmart. Well, now it's flipped back the other way, like essentially what it used to be 8.5 years ago, where now this other one, the 50-pounder, is just a little bit cheaper as far as like what you actually get for your money, right? That's something I always look at. This is how I know a lot of shit has gone up so much, because I record shit like this, especially, kilocalories per dollar, grams of protein per dollar. And I don't know. They just, that was something else. Like, cause I was reading something on, shrinkflation, and that was something I saw somebody point out that I hadn't even really realized. I mean, presumably I would have seen it, but I didn't really think about it. Yeah, like at some point, bags of sugar went from 5 pounds to 4 pounds, which is weird because you can still get 10-pound bags and 25-pound bags. But for whatever reason, instead of 5-pound bags, you get 4. And everything is like you really, it's sort of like you don't have privacy anymore. You really can't. There are no deals anymore. All right, you'll know something would have been a deal if they won't let you use it. All right, so for an example, if there's like a sale and they say, it can't be applied with coupons, or like you can't double coupons or combine coupons, or like, if you have a member deal, then the sale price, you don't get both, right? Or the bullshit, right? And so the reason that they do that is because had they let you do that, it actually would have been a deal. And they ain't going to let you do anything that isn't them robbing your money, right? So you'll know if it would have been a deal because they're going to tell you can't. And that flies in the face of what it was, not that long ago. I mean, maybe 10 years ago. I mean, my whole life, I remember my mother always clipping out coupons and combining coupons and shit like that, right? Or you had like the membership, and then, you get the discount of the coupon, and you double coupons or price match or fucking whatever, right? And yeah, sometimes you could be like, those shows they used to have, again, that were made before they got rid of the shit. Where some motherfuckers who were really astute about it could, basically save so much in coupons that the cashier would actually have to give them money, because they essentially, had enough coupons to make the price negative. So the cashier actually had to hand them money. Not only did they save money, they made money. Like, they didn't even spend anything, right? Yeah, clearly they don't want you doing that. Motherfuckers have to go make TV shows about it and ruin it for everybody else. But there's also been a lot of inversions where, like, for a really weird one I've noticed happening in the last 10, this is totally new, last 10, not 10 years, 5 years since the meme vid. It was pretty much a given for eternity that if you bought the larger size of something, so you bought the bigger box, of fucking granola bars, right? Or you bought the 10-pound bag of sugar instead of the 5-pound. It was pretty much like accepted as fact that you paid less for what you got, right? So per unit, per, kilocalorie, whatever. Well, now that's done this weird inversion where now, like, for an example, I was looking up the price of sugar because shit is just so expensive now. A few years ago, I had to give up on my original. Like I said, I've been doing this forever. I started doing it when I was homeless in California in 2015. November 13th, 2015, I got to LAX. I had a taxi take me to, I think at the time it was the Ramada Inn right across from Disneyland or Disney World or whichever. Stayed there a couple nights, had these, pseudo friends take me to this place in Tustin called Tustin Motor Lodge, which now it's a Motel 6, or it was last time I checked Google Maps. There's another one I want to go back and revisit in 2022, which it was kind of like that Denny's in Reading that I had stopped at earlier that year in 2019, when my car was fucking up, where, you know, it's like the serpentine belt slipped off, you know, I was running on the battery, I pulled into this gas station, had to fuck with it, and, you know, ended up having to break into my own car because I locked myself out. MacGyvered that shit, and, you know, because I left the jump starter connected, it sort of, you know, drained enough into the battery to then actually be able to jump start it. And so, you know, I was like, all right, well, cool. And then I limped it to the Denny's. That was where, you know, I go in the bathroom and some homeless dude left a baggie of meth in there. So I still have a picture of that. Blah, 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 right? Well, 2015, well, anyway, so it, like, that was in Reading. I wanted to revisit that. The Denny's, I actually got there in 2022, and I'm like, all right, here we are. And it's like, wait, this ain't right. And so I decided to look a little bit deeper in Google Maps and realized that the Denny's had moved like a block down the street to a different building for no reason. I was like, all right, so it's not even the same building now. And the original building is closed now. There's not even anything in it. I was like, all right, well, it was same thing with, I mean, I'm pretty sure that place across from Disney World isn't a Ramada Inn anymore. I know for a fact Tustin Motor Lodge doesn't exist anymore. But anyway, that was another thing. I couldn't go, that wasn't there, and then it wouldn't matter because 99-cent store closed down. And I closed down, I believe, early last year. Here's the thing. They weren't closed in 2022. Or, I did this in 2023, I mean. The vacation attempt. Try to revisit places from earlier in my life. And, like, I was going to do travel vlogs and shit. Well, they were still open in 2023. And actually, I don't remember if Tustin Motor Lodge was still the name of that hotel. Or motel, I guess, in 2023. I don't know. I didn't end up going back to Orange County. Wait, what the fuck? Oh, okay. But, so yeah, when I, you know, ended up at Tustin Motor Lodge a couple days after, you know, I got to LAX, November 13th, 2015. I remember that because that was the same day as the Paris bombings, and they shut down flights from Paris to LAX. I remember the guy in the taxi listening to that. I actually thought they shut down all of LAX. So I thought, man, it was a good thing I got out of the airport fast enough, right? But no, they had only shut down flights from Paris. It wasn't. I was thinking they had shut down the whole fucking airport. But had him take me to, you know, the Ramada Inn, there for a couple of days, and then had those pseudo friends take me to that Tustin Motor Lodge place in Tustin. Well, from LAX to that Ramada Inn, that's Anaheim, and then I went to Tustin. And those pseudo friends, when I first got the hotel room in Tustin, they came by a couple times. One of them had a car, so, you know, we were all riding around together. At one point, they picked somebody up or dropped somebody off from school, or, well, I mean, college. And I thought it was in Irvine, because I know we drove through Irvine. But I looked it up on Google Maps, and, well, actually, I have my old Google Maps data from back then. And they shut down desktop Google Maps, you know, Google did. But you can load that data into, like, third-party websites, and it showed it, because I made a pin in Google Maps of the community college, and it's actually in Costa Mesa. which is a few miles away, but it's like, all right, whatever. We drove through Irvine. I guess we drove there too. So that's another thing. I remember we went to this like shopping mall kind of area. I don't know. It was a big mall, where really big parking lots. I remember there was this like thoroughfare between the buildings, and it had like storefronts there. It was like a giant sidewalk, but just the sidewalk part, right? But it was like through the middle, sort of. That might have been in Irvine or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I remember they took me to Orange one time, and we all basically walked around this army surplus shop for a little bit. I wanted to get some new clothes, but I couldn't really find any cargo pants or boots or whatever that fit me. But and then at one point, one of them I thought actually was still helping me. Of course, I know that they weren't, but I ended up walking from Tustin all the way to Santa Ana. And it was like 11 some miles, I think. I don't know. It said it was going to be like a 5-hour walk or whatever. It's like, yeah, no. Not when you're carrying all your shit and blah, 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 right? It's like, there was a point, I remember it's like halfway there. I took a bunch of my shit and just threw it in a garbage can. It was like, all right, I don't need this that bad. And it's just weighing me down too much, and I threw it away. I remember on that walk there, so on the walk to Santa Ana, it goes through Orange. But, actually I could probably, that's the thing, these third-party websites, I haven't tried them all yet, but the old Google desktop would actually show your exact route. And I could look at the exact route I walked from Tustin to Santa Ana. But I'm pretty sure it was like 11 something miles. And I walked that all. I think I left the Tustin Motor Lodge at like 4 in the morning. And I believe I got to Santa Ana, the place in Santa Ana I was headed at like, it was like 11:30 or 12:30 or something. Now, at one point I actually stopped at Hardee's. I believe they call it that there. Or no, hold on. Do they call it Carl's Jr.? I don't remember. It's one, like I said, those are both the same restaurants. It's a regional thing. It's like the difference between Checkers and Rally's, or like there's one steakhouse, if it even exists anymore. Like it's either, you might see it, call it either Bonanza or Ponderosa. Depending on where you're at, they probably all fucking shut down at this point. But also, I stopped there for breakfast, but at a point on the route that I was walking, I went past an In-N-Out. So I went in there and got me, I have pictures of it still. I don't remember exactly what I got, and I won't be able to find them, in a timely fashion while I'm talking this. But I think I got 2 doubles and just 2 fries. I don't know. So like, did I get a milkshake? I don't know. But yeah, of course, I'm sitting there all, thinking all the fucking Big Lebowski references, right? And it's like near the In-N-Out burger, bullshit like that. But yeah, it's pretty good. Anyway, my point was, when I was staying at Tustin Motor Lodge, I was walking up the street, there's a mile or two, to this 99-cent store. And I was getting, their little jars of peanut butter, and they had the bag of rice that was like, it wasn't a pound, it was like 12 ounces or whatever, right? Or it was like 14 ounces or fucking whatever, right? Bullshit like that. So like, I already started to think about shit like this. And also, the Tustin Motor Lodge was on El Camino Real Boulevard, or was it just El Camino Real? It was like, maybe that's just the name of it. Anyway, like right at like 2 minutes of walking away was a Jack in the Box. And to put it in perspective, motherfuckers even in Tustin right now probably wouldn't even believe this. But in November 2015 in California, you could get I believe it was a junior cheeseburger, or is it a cheeseburger and then like a chicken junior or whatever the fuck they call them, for $1. And they had fries for $1. And of course then they had their motherfucking tacos. Dude, I would literally go in there almost every day because I was walking everywhere, right? Trying to get shit done, and it's just, I had to walk everywhere. And now I see why there isn't as much obesity in cities, But I was walking everywhere, so I was eating a lot. And I weigh like, at this point I weigh like 240, but on me 240 looks skinny. I would go into this Jack in the Box and like almost every day, and I got pictures of this, but again, I'm not putting them in the video. I can only have one thumbnail. I'm not making a collage out of it. I might do something like that at a later point, but anyway, I'd go in this Jack in the Box like right when they opened up, and I would order, it was like 4 cheeseburgers and like 2 chicken juniors or whatever the fuck it is, and then and order like 8. It was like 8 orders of fucking, how they had those fucking like 2 taco things, right? It's like 2 tacos for $1, and I'd get like 8 of those. $20, at Jack in the Box in California in 2015 would get you a ton of shit. But I crunched the numbers on it. I was like, this is a really good deal, for my money. And then I started thinking, 99-cent store, doing shit like that. And then another thing I had done, actually, I still have a picture of, like, I had those 99-cent store bags, right? Like the reusable bag. But, I'd go in there to Jack in the Box and order all this shit. And there was this one girl that would be there a lot. And when I tell her the order, she looked at me and she's like, "You're going to eat all that?" And I'm like, "Yep." And I'm going to be sitting here and you can watch me eat all of it. But, it's weird. California, when I was skinny, that's the only time I've ever had women smile at me, right? Like a genuine smile, not fake smile. Another one was when I was going to the Stater Brothers. There was this bitch there that like gave me like a legit smile. I don't know, it was weird. But anyway, so that's when I really started thinking about that. The kind of true like inflection point on that was once I was in Santa Ana full time. Basically, there was this Motel 6 on North State College Boulevard, I think, which is, walking down that was where the Stater Brothers was. You walked a couple miles, you walked a little bit further, there was this strip mall with it was a Target or Kmart, whatever. And at the time they had a hometown buffet there, so I'd be going there like every morning, $9, and stay through lunch. Again, I was actually moving a lot, so eating a lot. I was actually losing weight. And then this is before I had actually really started the gym. And so I was just doing home workout bullshit. And I'd be like sitting in my hotel room all day doing push-ups and air squats and bullshit. And I was honestly working out too much. But anyway, at that point in Santa Ana, I remember, because there was this Burger King that was in that same area near the hometown buffet, and this was just like right down, this like a block down or something like that, if I remember correctly, from that Stater Brothers that I would go to. I remember that was when I really started calculating calories per dollar, like, because I basically determined that getting like 5 of the, maybe it was, I guess it was Burger King where it's called a Chicken Junior, but like 5 of those, and again, those at the time were $5. Now they're only, or 500 calories. Now they're only like 450 calories. But I basically determined it's like, hey, $5 I could get like 2,300 calories, right? It's like, it's actually not that good, calories per dollar. But I was, again, I was starting to think about this. If I went to a Denny's, for example, again, I would think about that, try to get the best bang for the buck. Oh, that reminds me. I remember recently I was thinking about, a yearish ago, I was thinking about this. And I tried to look up the stuff I used to get at Denny's all the time. I would get like it was like a triple cheeseburger or whatever. They had the full plate of nachos. There's some other stuff, I think, and then there's like a peanut butter milkshake they had, because those were like their most calorific. And it's like, for the price, well, I went looking it up, and like the numbers weren't adding up to what I remembered as far as like protein, for example, and the cheeseburger. So I decided to dig into it, because their nutrition PDF, it felt like it was different. So I went looking for old versions, and actually found a PDF on some lifting website, actually, and it was about, oh, you're bulking, here's what to eat. And it's like, this particular one was for Denny's, and it was essentially a copy of their like 2015 menu. And I compared the two, and sure a motherfucking enough, the actual grams of the triple cheeseburger or whatever it was, for example, was lower. And so by virtue of that, there was less protein. And it was like, but then they cost more. I'm like, you motherfuckers, But I don't know. It's sort of like, everything just degrades, and I get sick of that. And as I said, I remember stuff like Winn-Dixie and Save-A-Lot and shit like that. And it's like my mother clipping coupons and all this and all that. And, it's funny, back in the day, I didn't want to have a Kroger card or a, like, I've never had like a Costco or like Sam's Club or what's that other one? I don't know, like bullshit. I've never had memberships for shit like that. It's like, what was that one they had in St. Louis? It was Schmucks, which I almost like, or is that what it was? It Schmucks, or what was it? Some like some bullshit, or was it Schnooks? I don't know, but both of those, I almost felt like that wasn't real. It's like, this can't be the name of the store. I remember this bitch I talked to in St. Louis. I was like, oh, you ever heard of Schnooks before? Like, whatever. I was talking about it like, I don't know. It was new to me, right? But she said that. It's like, I can tell you're not from here. It's like, how? And she's like, because, you talk about Schnooks like you never heard of it before. It's like, it's just like here, right? It's like, it's basically, it's kind of like Midwest Kroger, pretty much. Actually, I mean, that might be a regional name. I don't know. Might be a penis name, bitch. I don't know. Sounds kind of gay. But, yeah, shit like that, it's like you have to have your little card, right, to get the actual price on the motherfucking shelf. It's like, fuck you. All right? I hate that shit. Because where the actual price, the one without the membership, they hide, right? Oh, look, here's and it's like, oh, you gotta have a card for that. I actually had a Schnooks card, and I used Google Foo to confirm it is in fact Schnooks. I always think it was like Schmucks, But I actually had got a card for that place, because it was, so all right. It was sort of like when I was on the West Coast years ago, back in 2019-ish time frame. I actually thought about getting a like 24-hour fitness or LA Fitness memberships, because like on the West Coast, there's more 24-hour fitness, and then Midwest and East Coast, that's kind of where most of the anytimes are. Anytime Fitness is like more East Coast and Midwest, and it's more 24-hour fitness on the West Coast. But actually, that reminds me again, and I've looked for it several times because I remembered in 2019 there was an Anytime Fitness I went to that I thought was in Oregon. I thought it was actually the way that I came in. It was like, actually, I think it was that same. The one I drove was that one that recently they had like 100 fucking cars backed up in the fucking winter cold shit like a week ago or whatever. I'm pretty sure it's that whatever Interstate West is, that it follows that like river that's like right on the edge. It's like the other side is Washington State or whatever, I think. Dude, the view on that is just beautiful. It looks so fucking cool. But anyway, once you get through that, kind of like to Portland, I was thinking there was a Anytime Fitness around there, like kind of like a bit further. I think it was further north, or is Portland right on the edge? I don't know. Anyway, I was thinking that the Anytime Fitness I was thinking of was like around like Beaverton, Oregon, which I believe is, I don't remember, but it's Portland's not like all the way north. I think Beaverton's closer to the border of Oregon. Anyway, I looked for it on and on. Like if I think about it, I'd try to find it, and over a couple years I didn't find it, and I started to think that I was just misremembering something. But when I used one of those websites to look up my old maps data, I found it. And the reason I couldn't find it recently, last couple of years, looking on Google Maps was because it closed down, right? So it's like that one I went to in Atlanta in 2019. That was on North Peachtree Street, I think it was, whatever. It's Midtown. But if you look for it now, if you search for that, it'll show it, but it'll say permanently closed. But if you just type in Anytime Fitness and you're like on that, kind of like general Atlanta area, it won't pop up, right? Well, this one was actually just over the bridge to Washington State, right? It was basically as far south in Washington State as you could get. What was the name of that fucking bridge? Well, anyway, like right over that little bridge. And the reason I thought Beaverton was because it is near there. But I mean, I think Beaverton's like 20, 30 miles to the west or whatever. But yeah, right over this little bridge into Washington State is where this Anytime was. And again, if you type it in, you know what you're looking for. It'll show up, but it'll say permanently closed. But I remember I got there. I even remember this gas station I filled up at. I believe it's in in Oregon, right before the bridge. I think maybe it wasn't Washington State. Anyway, I remember it because I found it on there too. But yeah, this one I had stopped at. I was going to. It was kind of late at night. I mean, it wasn't super late. It was maybe like 4 a.m. And what I was going to do actually was try to go in there and basically try to get a couple Z's in the bathroom, right? Because Anytime Fitness has individual bathrooms. It's not like a shower room or locker room or whatever, like Planet Fitness or whatever. But this is one of the few ones I saw in 2019, like up to 2019, where I basically never saw anybody in an Anytime Fitness between, when I'd normally show up between like, 12 a.m. and 4 or 5 a.m. But I got there, I was going to try to sleep in the bathroom a bit. And of course, pretty sure there's already a motherfucker there when I showed up. I'm like, son of a bitch. Whatever. But yeah, it's closed down now. A lot of them closed down. But anyway, so I'd started thinking about this calories per dollar stuff in, California in 2015. And so I've been keeping track of a lot of this shit for a long time now. So like for an example, at one point, like I was getting those great value brand blocks of, they're basically their version of Velveeta blocks, It's pretty much the closest you're ever going to get to government cheese nowadays. Dude, I miss that shit. Technically, the government cheese program ended before I was born. But dude, people had that shit stockpiled. That shit sold like crazy. It's like, even today, food stamps are 50 cents on the dollar, right? So if you had $100 in food stamps, somebody give you $50 in cash, to use the 100, right? Food stamps have basically always been 50 cents on the dollar, right? But dude, government cheese you could legit sell that shit. And they had flooded so much onto the fucking market that people had giant stockpiles of it. So I remember the guy who, when I was older, I ended up becoming my stepdad, when he was, I guess, dating my mother. I remember as a little kid, I was like 5 years old. I remember him actually bringing over blocks of government cheese. So even though they stopped making it before I was born, motherfuckers still had it, and I got to taste it. And yeah, I don't know what it is about government cheese, but nothing else tastes as good as that. Velveeta or whatever, it's nowhere close. I don't know what magic they did with that shit, but yeah. But anyway, the blocks of Velveeta or whatever, those are basically just, commercially produced sort of equivalents of government cheese. But I was buying the great value Walmart ones, again, 2021, 2022-ish, because at the time they were one of the best, they weren't the greatest on the calories per dollar, but for grams of protein per dollar, they were pretty fucking good. Well, again, I have data on this because I've been researching it, especially during MemeVid, where inflation and prices are through the roof. What a 16-ounce block of Easy Melt costs now is what a 32-ounce block used to cost. And again, this has only been, 3.5, 4 years. Inflation has gone up about 25% in the last 5. It's been about 5% a year for the last 5 years. But yeah, so I have data on this, like hard data, because I was always looking for the best calories per dollar, right? And so I'm constantly researching this. Like for an example, one of the best protein grams per dollar you can get is actually Great Value has imitation bacon bits, and they're basically just little pieces of textured soy protein with a bit of red food coloring and some smoke flavoring at it. Right now, I actually prefer the fake bacon bits because I like the crunch. The real ones just don't have that crunch to them. I've always liked my bacon hard as a rock, And was it Oprah or somebody? I remember hearing something about somebody. I think it was Oprah. Some story about how she was like ordering breakfast at a diner or whatever, and she wanted bacon. And, they asked her how she wanted it, and she said the claim was by the individual relaying this story, which I believe was about Oprah. Her response to that was, how do you want your bacon? She said, supposedly, so hard you could break your teeth on it, right? And that's pretty much how I like my bacon. I like it super crunchy, essentially black, by the time it's done. And so yeah, the imitation ones, if you get like real bacon bits, no matter what the brand, they're always really soft, and I don't like that texture. Well, anyway, even now actually, compared to everything else with the current prices, those imitation bacon bits are one of the best grams of protein per dollar you can get. And the thing is, though, they're 3 ounces, and only it wasn't that long ago. It was like a couple years ago. They were $1 a bag, and so if you calculated it out, those were 30 grams of protein per dollar. Okay, well then they went to 112. I was like, all right, whatever. Well, then they went to 142. And I was like, son of a bitch. Dude, now I think they're like fucking 170 something. Right? Those, another thing I used to get a lot was these Great Value brand. They're 50% dark chocolate bars. So, 50% dark chocolate is in, 50% cocoa content. And so they're a 100-gram bar, and they were $1, right? And a single bar is 510 calories, right? So, 510 per dollar, right? Pretty good, right? Dude, those things are almost $2 fucking dollars. I think they're $1.76. Again, a couple years ago, they were only $1. I had a ton of them. And, well, anyway, something pissed me off that Equate has their own brand of plant protein. There's a jar of it right here. This one's empty, but yeah, Equate. By the way, Equate is like one of Walmart's like in-store brands. They're their own kind of store brand. Yeah, Equate plant-based protein supplement pea and quinoa blend. 2-pound jars. You do the math on these, and when I had the 2 I bought initially, I'm pretty sure they were like $20. So I think that totals, it's like 30 grams of protein a serving, 19 servings. I believe it totaled out at a price of $20. It was like 28 grams of protein per dollar. Well, I noticed them being on clearance a while back, and I didn't really think about it. And now I can't find them anywhere. They don't even show up on the Walmart website anymore. I managed to find 2 more, and they were on clearance for $17 a piece. That totals out, that's like 35 grams protein per dollar. Now, chicken breast used to be $1.99 a pound. Now they, put that to like $2.67. And so what that meant is that these plant protein powders, their grams of protein per dollar is essentially the same as chicken. Now, again, remember when chicken was $1.99, basically $2 a pound. Okay, well, there's 100 grams of protein in a pound of raw chicken breast. So that made it 50 grams of protein $1. Well, at the current, $2.67 a pound, it's only like 37. All right, well, so that protein powder that I'm looking at right here, not only is it almost identical protein value to the chicken, but it's a powder, right? You don't have to refrigerate it, right? It could essentially last forever, right? So not only do you get the, the actual value of the chicken breast, but you get that lack of depreciation, right? Because it could, but, you ain't leaving chicken breast on the, out of the refrigerator, no matter what you put it in for, fucking. Dude, there's a Nutri-Cost brand protein powder, whey protein, not plant protein, but whey protein, that I bought in 2020. I know because I can go look at my Amazon history. Dude, I ate the last of it. I bought a 5-pound of whey and a 5-pound of casein. Dude, I ate the last of it like 6 months ago. This shit lasted, I had it for like 5 years and it was still good. 2 of those years it sat essentially roasting in my fucking car. I just left them out there. right? So these powders can last basically forever. It's like, well, then I just want to get the plant protein, right? Well, I never really thought that they would just stop selling these, right? And I didn't think that clearance meant, hey, we're going to stop selling it soon. So basically, I could be fucked, right? And my current car issues, I didn't go out because I was sort of hesitant. But by the time I had done the test and essentially concluded that it was okay to drive a bit before I got it worked on, well, then the motherfucking second cold snap hit, or whatever the fuck you want to call this bullshit on the East Coast, where half the damn East Coast is underwater too. Thankfully, I'm not, but my storage unit might be, for all I fucking know. Or the car I got in storage, that '94 Mercury Sable, that motherfucking thing could have washed away for all I know. I don't know. I forgot to disconnect the battery when I parked it there, and I haven't been around in like a fucking year now. So I'll say the battery's probably dead on that one. I need to get a new one. Just swap them out. Whatever. I want to get some batteries for battery backup. So basically, like these little heaters I got right here, what I would like to do is I'd like to have, even if it's just a single, 100 amp hour deep cycle battery, that would be able to run one of these for a few hours, or maybe at least a couple, because they're only 400 watts. And the idea was, something happened, I could, just have an inverter hooked to the battery, plug this into it, and have this able to run, kind of really just to buy me time to set up my propane heater. Which, because the weather got shitty again, I brought it inside. I'm actually looking at it right now. But, I don't know. So anyway, I was going to go out, but then this bullshit ass weather hit again. And I basically wanted to go out because I wanted to go to a few other Walmarts that are a bit further away. There's like 2 of them that are decently close, but then there's like 3 or 4 others that are but it's like I was desperate. So basically I figured out that these plant protein powders, they were stopping selling them. They're replacing it with one that's only 400 grams. So it's not even a single pound. And it costs a few dollars less. But if you do the math on it, it would be equivalent to as if, these ones I'm talking about, they were only $20 and then $17 on clearance, which, again, I've managed to find, 2 final ones probably. And so now these things are fucking gold to me. I wanted to just desperately go try to find more. Well, because of the weather now, they're probably all gone. Now I'll probably never find any more. They're never going to sell them again. Well, anyway, as I was saying, with the current price of this new one that they're replacing it with, it would be as if these cost like $35. Which is, like I said, fuck these corporate. Like, they don't have enough. To put it in perspective, Walmart is a $1 trillion corporation. Okay? Trillion. With a T. Trillion. All right. And so supposedly you'll make about, $1 million in your lifetime if you're the typical wage earner, right? Something like $1 million in your lifetime. Well, I did the math on this at a point. I might not get it all right, saying it right here, but I did the math at some point. And I might get it slightly off, and I won't be, my point won't be wrong. But anyway, so let's base this off of what the retirement age in the U.S. used to be, which was 65. And then legally you can start working like tax-paying job at 16. Okay, let's say 15 just to make the math easier. Okay, so if you worked 50 years, you would see $1 million, which I think that averages out to about $40,000 a year. Okay, well, what that would mean is to see $1 trillion, you would basically have to live, I don't know, it's like 5,000 lifetimes. Okay, so whatever, it was a several thousand lifetimes to see what Walmart Corporation sees in a single year. Okay, one single year, you'd have to live thousands of lifetimes to see that money. And they get it all at once every single year. Oh, and by the way, they pay almost no taxes. The last time I looked at IRS tax data was 2019 data. And in those data, of the 2.3 trillion that the U.S. state terrorist organization robbed that year, only 2% of it was corporate taxes. 2%. Okay? Not corporations paid 2% of their $1 trillion in taxes. No, all corporations combined, their taxation was equivocated to only 2% of the total that was taxed. Almost all of that, so like 98% of it, was what they fucked you out of, and then payroll tax. Okay, but corporate tax was basically nothing. And so I did the math on that too, and what they pay in taxes would be like as if, you know, you made $100,000 a year and they, you know, the government only robbed a few dollars. And I said everybody would pay fucking taxes then, wouldn't they? Right? Yeah. Oh, by the way, that's not including all the corporate welfare. So, like, where the fuck does Walmart need to double the price of everything in 5 years? What are they missing out on? Okay. And again, that's when you don't account for they increase stuff past the inflation rate. So, you know, if it was 25% in the last 5 years, then something that was $1 for the nominal to match the real value should be $1.25. Well, then make it $1.50 or even $1.75. You know, so like they're making even, and here's the thing, I don't get it, because a corporation, it could stay the same price. You adjust it for inflation, right? So something that was $1 would be $1.25 now. So, but the real value is the same. Okay, well, you're still making money because millions of motherfuckers are being born like every week. You're still increasing, even if you didn't change the prices, because more motherfuckers born, more motherfuckers buying shit, right? So they're robbing you by like overinflating past the inflation rate. Then they're robbing you on the fact that, you know, in a lot of states, or all of them, I guess, food sales get taxed. Okay, and then on top of that, they're getting subsidized from your income tax on top of all this other shit. And then you see, like, for an example, your bank account doesn't get adjusted for inflation, right? So you put $1,000 in the bank, and the currency inflates 25%. Okay, well then, so your bank account should say $1,250. Well, it still says 1,000. So what that means is they just robbed $250 from you. And your dumbass doesn't think that they did because, oh, the nominal, you know, you're not even aware of that. You just see the old, it still says 1,000. It's like, but if it were matched for the value, it's like, you know, if you looked at your bank balance 5 years after putting 1,000 in a savings account, you know, a time deposit or whatever, and all of a sudden it said 750, you'd be pissed, right? But there's all this motherfucking robbery on top of everything, and then they cheapen all the product, right? So the actual, they take less out of it, but then the materials, right? It's like I'm not that old, right? I'm 34, but I remember when, I mean, an empty 2-liter bottle, you could basically beat somebody's head in with it. Now it's like they're made out of paper and they all crinkle up, right? And like a gallon jug of milk or juice or whatever. It's like the whole container will be flexing around your, like where you're holding at the handle. It's like that pivot point. It's like the whole thing flexes around that. They made them so flimsy now to where the amount of pressure you have to apply to the sides to hold on to it is greater than the pressure needed to bend it. And so what that means, like actually like, crinkle it inward or whatever. And so what that means is if you're actually holding it tight enough for it to stay in your hand and it's full and you open the motherfucking lid, it's going to go all over the place, right? Like they can't afford to put all the plastic there. It's like when I was looking for, insulated, bibs, bibberalls, whatever. There's like coveralls, but whatever. The Carhartt ones with Thinsulate in them, they're $220 base price. $220, right? Which is ridiculous. Okay, well I did them. I looked it up. All right, like Eddie Bravo. And for the price you could buy a roll of Type D Thinsulate, the amount of material that would have to go in a pair of pants big enough to fit me, that amount of Thinsulate, the good stuff, Type D, 150 GSM, it's only $9. All right, $9. And that is by far the most expensive thing in those pants. $9, and then everything else involved. I mean, there's no way that they really cost more than $15. And keep in mind, that's off the price I would pay. All right, not the volume discount, economies of scale bullshit that these corporations pay. For me, it would be at most 15, maybe $20. So they want like 10, 15 times more than what they're fucking worth. Even if they made them 4 times what they were worth. It's like, oh, okay, well, but then they'd only be $40, $60 maybe, something like that. Okay, well, they want $200 for them. Or actually $220. Again, like they're hurting. And again, that's off the prices I would pay. They don't pay nowhere close to that. And it's all criminals. It's like Walmart, and that's another thing. Without the corporate welfare, Walmart would have been just another one of those companies that, like a lot of them in the last 5 years, just stopped existing. And that's a problem I have with the state terrorism. One of them is that this subsidization that it's really what it is you're paying them, right? They're robbing your money and giving it to these. Like I said, humans are the opposite of Robin Hood. They want to rob the poor to give to the rich. All right. Humans are the types that they beg homeless people for change. Right. Like that's how it is. Like, hey, that motherfucking movie, I don't know, the fucking Will Smith movie where he's homeless with his kid, his son. It's kind of surprised you ever see a movie with, males as victims. Right. But there's that scene where that rich asshole is like, just absolutely needs him to split the cost of the fucking taxi or whatever. Like he can't afford it, That's like true, like fucking miser shit. But there's no way that everything has to be, not only they put less in it, the container, they make the container shit too. As another thing, I mentioned earlier that I don't really ever eat ice cream. Well, one of the few times I had was, 2020 to 2021, where I was buying these gallons of the Great Value ice cream because the containers they had were really nice. They were a pretty square shape, and they were stackable, and, it's like I would eat the ice cream out of them, and, clean them out real good, and I would just use them as storage containers, right? Well, then they changed it to the one, like I'm actually looking at 2 of them up on this shelf right now, that they changed the shape, and then like they literally cut the corners because it's not that kind of squarish shape anymore. It's this weird beveled in. It's just bullshit. Oh, and these drink mix packets, 0 sugar drink mix. And so this is one of the new boxes. Okay, well then here, hold on. This is the old plastic container they used to come in. I love these plastic containers because once they're empty, I just put shit in them, right? So one of the things like these, they got these pretzel nuggets, 24 ounces of pretzel nuggets, peanut butter in them. And this jar, this is basically a half-gallon jar, yeah, it's basically half-gallon jar. I take the peanut butter pretzels out of them and, you know, just use them to put shit in. These plastic things that these drink mixes come in, you know, it's like I'd put, you know, like I'd have one to like put Q-tips in, right? Because my ears always itch like crazy. I don't know, you're not supposed to do it, but I just always scratch them with Q-tips. They cheapen Q-tips now, you know, like cotton swabs. I remember in 2019, well, anyway, so the drink mixes, they moved this stupid paper container. Fucking worthless, all right? I can't do nothing with that. That's actually worse because this plastic one right here, the old version, I can keep these, right? I can do shit with these, right? This ain't going in a landfill. I'm saving this, right? That paper, you're not going to be able to use anything. That's, like I said, that's generating. I mean, maybe for most motherfuckers, they're probably just going to throw shit in a fucking landfill or whatever. Or just throw it in the garbage. I mean, it's going to end up in a landfill, right? So like maybe with their bitch ass, I don't know. But what was that? Can't remember exactly what I was on at this point. Fuck. I don't know. Let's see. Kind of feel like having a little bit of music going. I've been sitting in silence for like 3 hours. Yeah, here's your 3-hour penis, bitch. I still got to do that 3-hour rant on the picture quality of the, you know, fucking Suicide Room Blu-ray. I'm legit thinking about importing the original Polish version. Because just looking at the specs online, the American release is just, I don't know. It's dubious. I'd like to be able to compare them, though. I promise you, if I ever did that, if I don't get murdered first and I end up doing that, there's absolutely going to be a fucking 3.5-hour video of me, like, you know, analyzing the grain structure of the fucking, you know, emo twink, you know, the, you know, Polish emo twink movie. I got your poll right here, faggot. Yeah, I'm going to be like a bullshit Maximus or whatever. You know, Cuckus Maximus, whatever that useless fuck. This motherfucker moved to Poland and took a bunch of steroids, like, just to still have to pay for pussy. It's like, you fucking loser. But I think about that one, like, clip of him. He's, like, approaching Polish bitches, and these bitches are scared shitless. You know, it's like, I remember one of them, I think she had glasses on. And she's just, like, so clearly just scared. She's just afraid for her life. What if I do that? I'm going to move to Poland and just be, you know, walking up to, like, fucking, you know, emo twinks and be like, I got your pole right here, faggot. You know, what's fucked up is if they're down, that would absolutely work. You know, if somebody's down, it really doesn't matter what you say. I don't know. Like I said, I've been dry for 5 years now. And, you know, at this point, I really don't give a fuck if I never have sex again. I mean, it'd be cool, but at this point, all I really get is a dude saying, hey, and then send me like 8 pictures of their butthole. It's like, I don't give a fuck what your butthole looks like, all right? And I'm not responding to hey, all right? Fuck off, piece of shit. But, yeah, I'm just, could I have technically had sex, you know, in the last 5 years? I mean, yeah, probably. I'm not interested in putting up with the bullshit anymore. But yeah, it's like Natty Fatty in Poland, saying cringy. Oh yeah, Pole, I get it. Yeah, haha, right? Just cringy ass shit. I always wanted to go to Czech Republic, not just for Obscene Extreme and Trutnov, but also to like basically try to do my own Czech Hunters. I remember being in some video game server one time saying that shit. And I was talking to a German dude, but we were talking about like death metal and bullshit. And I said that, and he was like, ugh. And I said, you motherfucking faggot. The fact that you reacted like that meant you knew what I meant about that, right? It's like, so they said, don't even play with me. But yeah, I don't know. Nah, of course, I ain't fucking bothering. It's all bullshit. It would have been cool, but yeah, I ain't gonna. Whatever, fuck it. Suck my cock with your mouth, bitch. But yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go to Poland and fuck that guy from Suicide Room. He had a pretty nice ass. Definitely, he's too tall though. Fuck it. So forget that. It reminds me of this dude that messaged me the other day. Overall, he looked alright, body-wise. His profile indicated that he was into that freaky shit. And he was actually talking about wanting to do some stuff that actually I love. It's like, oh, I want to give a guy post-orgasm torture. And it's like, that is literally, it's like, if that's not what happens every time, I'm going to be disappointed, right? I said I'm a freak in multiple ways, but again, I noticed in his pictures, he got that little bit of like crust on his upper lip, that little crust stash, right? And you got a little bit of that chin crust, And then one of the pictures he sent me, first of all, he sent me a picture of his dick. It's like, I don't know why you're sending me that, because I'm the one fucking you. I don't give a shit what your dick looks like. However, it showed he had I call it the unhappy trail. It's like, yeah, no, fuck that. No way. So at that point, it was already a hard pass. If it was actually shaved, it would have been okay. But my rule is, if I see any of that in any of your pictures, or like that fucking, if I see any stubble or like that kind of like gray color, like after you shave, you get that kind of like grayish kind of. If you grow enough hair to even have to shave at all, that's already, nowadays that's a hard pass too. So not even shaving would be good enough. But so that was already a deal breaker. And then the unhappy trail, that was like, all right, yeah, this is basically confirmed. But then I looked at his like profile details, and it said he was 6'3". I was like, nah, dude. He had his body type or whatever, his tribe, set to twink. Yeah, he was pretty skinny. He was not, and it's like, nah, dude. If you're hairy, and especially you're 6'3", then you're not a twink. All right, no, despite what these fags say, twink is not an age thing. I talked to one dude a few years ago on Scruff. He was in his 40s, but he had the twink look. Again, it's not an age thing. It's just your body and just face shape and all that. Right? Has nothing to do with age. So yeah, this dude looked like he was 40-something, but it was like the 40-something-year-old version of a twink, right? Of course, it didn't go anywhere, but suffice to say, these idiots, like the shit that actually disqualifies you from being able to call yourself a twink, that doesn't count. But then bullshit that has no effect somehow to these child molesters, it does. I'm so fucking tired of humans. Nah, dude, if you got an unhappy trail or any crust stash, or you're 6'3", even if you're smooth, nah, you're an otter at best. You ain't no fucking twink. Fucking useless. And no, you're not a boy either. you're not the boy of the sexual dynamic, right? Because that's a big thing with homosexuals. You know, it's like I would be the daddy, and then they would be the boy, right? And so basically, you're the older looking one, and they're the younger looking one. But it's like, no, if you're not a twink, you're not a boy. All right, and again, it's not an age thing because I've had dudes older than me call me daddy. It's just an archetype thing. But nah, you go to hell with this 6'3" shit. Fucking, it's so useless. So I just don't. I'm not even worried about it. But yeah, you go to. Well, anyway, the reason I brought that up is because I think the dude that played that character in that, you know, that faggoty Polish movie, you know, just Poles being Poles as usual. I think that dude didn't realize he's like 6'4" or some bullshit like that. It's like, nah, fuck that. He looks alright, but you need to like take him into 3ds Max and like uniform scale, like downward until his like height is 5'9" or less. You know, ideally 5'6", and then it's like, all right, sold. You know, be laying on top of that. But nowadays, 5'9" is my cutoff. And I'm like Baraka. He's the only one that ever got it. All right. He's the only one that, other than me, I've seen that understood this. Is like, you may as well be picky because you're not going to get anything even if you're willing to settle. Right? You lose nothing. So why bother? You know, it's like, sorry, but I mean, unless you're, you know, you're built like Kyle Ross, right? Or like, you know, whatever the black version of him would be. Like, I don't care about race. And that's another thing, dude. Like, homosexual humans are legit racist as fuck. Like, for an example, I remember this old website called Noodles and Beef that they had something called gay cliques census. They called them cliques. Grindr calls them tribes, whatever. But tribes, cliques is like bear, twink, otter, whatever bullshit. They done a ton of data collecting what different people putting in their stats, you know, and then like, you know, what the stats would say that their, you know, tribe was versus like what they identified as. One of the data or datums or whatever that they determined, and they had an article about back when the website was up, the actual clicks thing where you put in the stuff and it tells you the results, and even had that like spider web graph and shit like that. I actually downloaded the HTML, like everything for that, off the website, so I can still look at it offline. Did that years ago. This is back when OkCupid was still just a website. And they had that data that contributed very heavily to the, you know, actual black pill, which has, you know, long since been usurped by psychotic child molesting humans, you know, these pseudo pillars, these chomo pillars. But that was one of the things that, you know, black pilled me, was the gay clique census. But that was one of the proofs of the racism, is like one of the things, like, for example, black men, even though they fit the body type of a bear, usually don't identify as that, because kind of just like twink, it's like I've seen a lot of gay dudes that don't think a black guy could be a twink, which is just like the bear thing. It's like, but they're built exactly like that, and it's like, well, being black doesn't count or whatever, you know. It's like bullshit, motherfuckers. You know, speaking of the psycho pill, this one individual who, I don't remember anything about him, maybe they were a person, I don't know, I'll just say individual, had a video, and I've mentioned it multiple times, talking about, you know, white motherfuckers saying, you know, black people can't be goth, right? And it was total bullshit. Of course they can be. I mean, it's not bullshit what he said. I'd never heard that to that point, but I totally believed it. Because I remember being on 4chan, I started in 07. I fucked off about 2012, or maybe I lingered a little bit into maybe 2014ish, but I'd already stopped using it mostly in 2012. But even all back 2007, I remember seeing shit about how blacks can't be can't cosplay white characters, or like what. It's like, who gives a fuck? If a dude's putting on the cosplay to get fucked by me, you're dressing up as Link or Raiden in MGS2 or what. I don't give a fuck what your skin color is. I'll take a black Raiden or black Link any fucking day of the week, right? Or whatever. Black Samus Aran or whatever. Cool. Beyond not mattering to me. But, again, so because I had seen that, I totally believe that, that just sounds like some stupid shit humans would say, right? But I don't know. Humans are just psychotic. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't make any. It's not, but it's not meant to, right? It's like these corporate terrorists, like they don't already have beyond fuck human. Like they couldn't spend it all if they wanted to. Like they have like their revenue every year is greater than the GDP of like basically every fucking country on Earth, right? Except a few of them, right? They could like literally buy multiple countries, just buy it, right? You just have, the state of Walmart, right? Like the sovereign state, right? The Walmart, the country. And it's like they act like you owe them something, right? Or like just the privacy invasion, right? Gotta have a address and this and that and just all this bullshit. And it's like, I remember how the internet used to be in the same 2007 time frame. You just go to MSN, go make a MSN email. Just make one up. And boom, you got an email. You sign up to the fucking forum, right? I used to sign up to forums all the time because who cared? You just make up an email, whatever, right? Now it's all got to be tied to a phone number. It's like, well, then I'm not signing up to shit. Right? And then, the psychopathy cameras all over the place, which are always looking the other direction when actual crimes are being committed against you, right? Now, these child fucking police run wild, and man, they love having that shit on blast, right? Because they're the death squads. They want you to see how brutally they're going to murder you or torture you or whatever. It's like, this is what we're going to do to you if you don't genuflect, right? You get to see all that. And it's like, dude, like, one of the reasons I almost never go to gore sites anymore is like, I don't need to see another 1,000 videos of the police murdering the fucking innocent and getting away with it again. All right. I've seen 10,000 videos or whatever the fuck of that. That's enough. I've seen enough. All right. And think of how decrepit humans are. When I could go to Chaotic and look through thousands of pages of videos, tens of thousands of videos, and like you're not going to find a single video of a moral action happening, ever. Tens of thousands of videos, right? Or like Best Score, never saw it on there. For all the years it was up, never saw it. If goodness were just such a constant of these humans, you think I would have seen one, right? Instead, the actual moral actions, nope, that's somehow the crime secretly, right? So Elliot Rodgers is going to enact actual justice, and then these child fucking police are going to show up to shoot at him, like as if he were the criminal. I noticed that with these child molesters, like they don't ever show up to help out. You notice that? And it says humans are sick. I'm tired of it. All right, I want to be left alone. Well, they want to make it impossible. I wish, like I said, Ted K was right. I wish I listened to Metal Gear Solid 2 when I was 11 years old, right? But it's just I'm seeing it get like, I've seen it my whole life. Like it should have never went past Like, if you're going to have the psychopathy cameras, cool, but it's a low resolution VHS tape. And it's like you got to physically have the tapes, right? So, you know, the actual victim you aggressed upon shows up to fuck you over like you fucked them. And then they just take the tape, and now there's no proof. And, you know, now the state terrorists can't persecute them for doing nothing wrong, right? It's like it should have ended there. Or like, if they want to know what you said or what, like they had to like literally clip on your phone line or some bullshit. Instead, it's just none of this technology ever gets used to actually protect. I know it's never used to protect the innocent, or like what anonymity exists is only to protect the guilty from justice, right? So I want to go find my previous ex. Okay, well now Google Maps and blah, 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 it's all so restricted now that it's as hard as ever to actually find anything, right? So you want to make, you know, my ability to, you know, create a moral outcome on an actual criminal essentially impossible. But I guarantee you the police have that information if they felt like it was convenient, right? You know, Google Maps, or Gmail, right? Like I'm going to make a full video about that, or like type out a thing at some point, as I had mentioned in a community thing. Like one of my old emails that I used to look for rooms for rent with, I started to mention this earlier and trailed off, you know, three hours ago. I noticed all my shit before 2018 just doesn't exist on the email anymore. The very exact day there's no more emails left prior to that is also the exact same day of the last time I ever updated my password on that particular account. It was like 8 of August 2018. Something like that. It's like, really? So you just threw all my old shit out past that just because I haven't updated my password for no fucking reason? Oh, and if you wanted it back, like, you go read all the posts on the internet. Oh, my shit's gone where, and they act like it. Oh, can't get it back. Gone for. It's like bullshit. All right, I bet you, if these state-sanctioned child molesters wanted that shit, man, it'd be right there instantly, right? You really think they deleted that? No, they just don't want you to have it. They said all this fucking treachery, this motherfucking debauchery, this fucking deterioration. I've watched it happen for, you know, going on 25 years now of me. Just the internet is just sucks now. It's just shit. All right. It was one thing when it was basically totally polluted with normal fags by, you know, 2010, the internet was already over essentially. But at least you could still just make an email address, right? You need, it's just, you know, it's just bullshit. I don't even really know what else to say. But, you know, when you're suffering needlessly, everyone's powerless, right? The cameras are always looking the other way, right? There's magically never any evidence. But the moment you start doing the right thing, man, motherfuckers are motivated to action instantly, ain't they? All of a sudden, all eyes are on you. So this is just psychotic. And then that's the thing is, I understand enough of how this world works that I don't even need to watch another stupid internet video of whatever. All right, I can promise you, you know, it's like your favorite shock site. Whatever they said is happening in the video, it's the opposite of that. All right, whoever's the supposed victim is the perpetrator, etc. You know, or it just anybody that's labeled the bad guy by society is actually the good guy, right? Or like this stupid fucking game Soldier of Fortune 2. Yeah, you're a mercenary fucked off in, you know, Czechoslovakia in 1989, and then, you know, subsequently after that, and that's a flashback. Within the current story, you're all over fucking Europe. including Switzerland, to do all this shit. But it's like, if you really look into it, you're the bad guy, right? Or like Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, you're the bad guy. Actually pay attention to what Shetland has to say, right? Or Pandora Tomorrow, you're the bad guy. Actually look into the characters who are the supposed antagonists. It's just, as I said, it's always just the, like, humans just, humans have always accused me of being contrarian. It's like, that's all humans do, is just be contrarian just for its own sake. They just do the opposite of reality. I don't know. I could probably say a lot more. I'm not sure. I might continue this for a little. Well, yeah, so there's a lot of shit I would have got done by now, but the moment I decide I'm going to do shit, the child molester verse is just going to throw inclement weather. It's going to throw whatever it can at me. It's basically been trying to cripple me, rob everything of mine, deplete all my resources. Like, seriously, try to cripple me. It's like, for the last couple weeks, or especially, for like a couple weeks ago, I still feel it a little bit, but I had this pain that it was so fucking bad. Like, I actually thought I had a kidney stone, because I've never felt anything like that in my life. Motherfucker, dude, even women will acknowledge to some degree. Y'all, yeah, I've had a child, I've given birth before, and kidney stone was way worse, right? Kidney stone is one of the most painful things I've ever experienced. Except the liver inflammation I had experienced, due to the pharmaceutical torture that I was subjected to. But the pain I felt recently in my side, I'm feeling a little bit right now. I've concluded that it's just back pain. But what I was feeling at the time, it actually felt worse than when I had that kidney stone when I was like, I think it was like 17. Or I guess maybe it was like 19 or 20. Yeah. Where I basically writhed with that all day, and when I realized it finally wasn't going to go away, I ended up calling an ambulance. They shot me up with Dilaudid, and I don't think they actually did anything for the kidney stone. I don't remember having any issues after that day at the hospital. I remember that I show up, they want to know your pain level and bullshit, and I'm sitting there like I can't lay still, They do x-ray or whatever. They take a urine sample and they come back and say, you got blood in your urine. I was like, great. Anyway, yeah, they ended up shooting me up with Dilaudid, which is, basically the closest thing you're going to get to heroin in the hospital. Which nowadays they got fentanyl, which is even more potent than heroin. Especially that carfentanil or whatever. But anyway, they shot me up with Dilaudid and sent me on my merry way. And I don't remember ever having the issue again. But this pain, it was like that for like a week. And like I, eventually fall asleep, because I only ever, sleep when I'm exhausted. And I wake up in this agonizing pain. I basically just sat around trying to wait for it to go away. Because, like, even if I wanted to go to immediate care or whatever the fuck they call it, yeah, good luck with this weather. Probably fucking ambulance wouldn't be able to get here, So I just grinned and bared it. And basically went away. But so I do shit like that. I've started recently waking up with like both my fucking arms numb. Like I can't feel them at all. That started happening again. Back in 2018, when I was landscaping and homeless. I remember one time I fell asleep in my car, woke up, my left anterior delt, left front delt, just didn't work. It was paralyzed. So I could still bend my arm at the elbow and, like, you know, pronate, supinate, use my hand and all that. But I couldn't raise, you know, it's like raise my hand forward, you know, like you were doing like a zombie walk, right? I couldn't like actually flex the delt, which basically makes me useless for landscaping because I'm, you know, pushing wheelbarrows all day and shit. And I mean, you need your anterior delt for that. So I had to take off work, which I really couldn't afford to do. And I got an MRI. They said I had cervical radiculopathy. So basically, I have a pinched nerve in my neck, aka your cervical spine. By the way, cervix is just an archway, right? Cervix, or I think it means a curve or whatever. And it's called your cervical spine for that reason. Sort of like fornication comes from fornix. I believe it's fornix that stands for archway. And so, I mean, if you think of, you know, a vaginal opening, kind of looks like a fornix. And so I'm fornicating, huh? And it's like it starts metaphorical, but becomes literal over time, you know. That's how it is. So, like, you're like a woman's, you know, like, you know, vaginal cervix or whatever. Not vaginal cervix, but you know what I mean? Well, that's just one kind of cervix. You also got, you know, your neck, the neck part of your spine is the cervix, right? Etc. Bullshit like that, whatever. But so basically, I had a pinched nerve in my neck. Now it went away. It had went away by the time I got to the immediate care. But anyway, they said, or no, it was still paralyzed when I got there. Anyway, I looked it up at a point, but the cervical nerve that innervates the anterior delt, I'm pretty sure it only innervates the anterior delt. So at some point I knew which cervical vertebrae it was that it, you know which nerve it had, you know, had pinched or whatever. Like I said, I'd had that, and so since 2018, and they referred me to a specialist. They gave me 2 numbers, neither worked. I tried to go to my general care doctor. She wouldn't give me a referral because it wasn't still happening. It's like, what? So you'd rather just wait for it to happen again. Well, what if next time it's permanent, right? So every time I wake up with my arms numb, like from the shoulder to the fucking fingertips, can't feel them at all. I'm always like, oh, fuck. You know, it's like I have to worry about waking up, not being able to move my arm, or wake up paralyzed, just straight up paralyzed, right? But bullshit like that, like the world is always trying to cripple me. As 2023 proved, it wants to rob all my fucking money. I started out that year with like 60 grand. By the end, I had a couple $100. I barely had enough money for gas to get to where I was going afterward. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are with money if everyone's going to rob you. That's what my last ex, that's why, you know, like I said, his bitch ass is when I get paid to visit, right? Sorry, you don't want to give me what you owe me voluntarily, well, then you're not going to like the alternative. Because this is what happens is he started trying to message me again 2 years ago. He wanted to throw it in my face. Oh, I got my own place. I got a car. Yeah. How much you want to bet this piece of shit gets a functional vehicle? That it doesn't do. This thing's a legit criminal. Felon. Spent its whole life being a junkie prostitute in and out of jail. Right? Somebody's going to give this thing a place to live. Somebody's going to give this thing a job. It's like thought you couldn't get that shit if you were a criminal. You know, a felon specifically. Thought you couldn't get that shit. It's not like they can't do the background check and see it. I still see the fucking charge. I just put his name in. It's right there. Even if he never got convicted, whatever. Okay, well, it's still there, though. They would see that. I can see it, right? Well, so what the fuck, society? I thought pieces of shit didn't get anything. I thought, so this faggot is supposed to be the bum on the fucking street, right? Now, of course, I'm not homeless now, But, you know, I said I've been looking for a, you know, better place for a couple years now. And when I bought the piece of shit I'm driving right now, well, when it was working, I spent 2 years with nobody wanting to respond to me, or if I email them for their ad, their response is, "Oh, you male or female?" It's like, well, you already know you're not getting it, right? Well, then I finally talked to somebody that's copacetic, and the place actually seems all right, and it's not super far away, but it would actually, locale wise, would be beneficial to my current goals. Okay, well then that's when this current car fucks up, and I was going to get it looked at sooner. Well, here comes this weather that it's like it's not worth it taking it anywhere, because it's like I could just die in the cold. It's like fatally dangerous to go anywhere right now, right? So it's further delaying me. It's like this world doesn't take enough from me, like it doesn't deprive me enough of justice, right? And it's like, you're just making it worse, right? All right, you've never seen tenacity like mine. You never will. All right, like you said, you child molesting ass motherfucking humans can never dream of what the fuck I've been through. I'm sitting here right now with afflictions that literally would have killed anybody else, and I'm not exaggerating. You think I'm the one? No. All right, no, motherfucker, no. But that thing, I'm pretty sure I figured out what's wrong with it. I've done some diagnostics. I can't plug a OBD in, because the port's just not where. I actually took it to a place that will do it for free, and they tried 2 different scanners of theirs, and neither worked. So there's something wrong with the port. So great, so I can't use that. I was going to try my other car that I'm just not driving. Like it's got problems, but it's like, well, I'd had it scanned before back in 2023. I knew it worked then. Let me try it now. Well, then the day I want to scan it is the day that it won't fucking turn on. And so the battery's probably dead in it. Well, I would have put a new battery in it, but I can't get anywhere to do anything if the motherfucking weather, you know what I mean? But for a while now, it seems like just I'm losing coolant. Thankfully, it's not a head gasket leak, in the one I'm driving right now, or any of the others as far as I know, but at least confirmed, because I put a tester on it. Because it's been losing coolant, it's been running hot, but I see a visible leak, and I did a test on it, and I ran it for a while with the tester in, and I even let it get up to temperature, and tested it, just sat there looking at it for a while, and it never turned colors. So, all right, cool, don't have a head gasket leak. And I let it run long enough to see the radiator fans come on. All right, those are coming on. Everything else looked basically all right. So I was like, all right, well, I'm losing all this coolant. Putting it in, as long as I top it off before I drive somewhere, the temperature will stay basically in the middle. But I keep losing it, and it's not directly tied to how often I drive it. Maybe it makes it happen a little bit faster, but just sitting around will make it do this. So there's just a leak somewhere. And it's not like, oh, my coolant's disappearing, but there's no leak. And it's like, I basically already confirmed off of that, and then also the leak test that it's not the head gasket for now. Right? But I don't know, I put everything together, like, for example, the squealing noise, which I thought was a serpentine belt. And it is. But that plus the battery, if I've driven it, it's like I said, I drive somewhere, run in for a few minutes, come back out, turn it on, it'll show that battery icon. And this will only happen after I've already driven it. It never happens right when I turn it on if it's just sat around for a while. Well, I collated all this information and determined that I gotta basically, my water pump has failed. So it's leaking from the water pump, and then of course, you know, part of that leaking is it gets on the serpentine belt, which makes it slip. That's causing the squealing. That also explains why, you know, it's like if I've driven it, okay, now the belt's wet. So when I next turn it on, it slips at first. That makes the battery icon come on, but then go away almost instantly, right? And all this other shit. So I was like, all right, let me look up the price. Well, first of all, so I read about it. The water pump, okay, no big deal. I'll just keep it topped off with coolant, right? Right. Well, everything I'm saying is this is super dangerous, right? You should stop driving it immediately and get it fixed. Like, of course. Well, you know, at that point, it might as well be the motherfucking head gasket, right? So I go look up the price. All right, well, what's to replace motherfucking water pump on this thing? Oh, $1,000. It's like, all right, great. And, you know, oh, if you're replacing a water pump, you may as well replace the thermostat. I actually thought it might have been the thermostat getting stuck closed. But, I mean, everything I've read says, oh, you should, if you're going to replace the water pump, may as well replace the thermostat too. All right, cool. Well, what's the cost of replacing water thermostat? $1,000, right? All right, great. So if it was $1,000 for both, then what that means is for me it'll be about, you know, $8,000, right? They'll make sure to take their long ass motherfucking time. Because remember, they get paid for the hour. What's the rush? You know. Of course, this is years after that Sears I used to go to closed down, and the only motherfuckers I ever trusted because they would actually, I would think it was some more expensive, and they actually, oh, it's actually this cheaper thing, right? Sons of bitches. But, well, so the one guy I talked to in 2 years that actually, it's like, you know, I could probably have that motherfucking room right now. I could probably be living in it right now. But it's just, that's going to be when my car starts to fall apart. And now I'm probably not going to be able to get there. And it's like, maybe I could already had it fixed by now, but then the weather, right? It's like, and then where this motherfucker, I mean, it might be motherfucking flooded right now for all I know, right? It might have been the worst option. I don't know. That's the point. It's all chaos, and I'm tired of it. Right? I'm tired of it, and, you know, that fucking fat-ass monkey Last X of mine is going to get life easy every fucking time, no matter how evil he is. Every single one of them. I'm just motherfucking sick of it. I don't get it. But once the weather warms up enough to like okay, I'm not going to die in it, right? Or highly risk dying in it. I got to take this thing to get somewhere to, you know, somewhere to get worked on. And, you know, whatever I have to get done, if it's more than a little bit, I'm going to put the shit on payments. I mean, I already own the thing, so that's why I figured. I thought about putting a car on payments, but I was like, I'd rather just buy it outright and then, you know, get the repairs on payments. But you know what? If I was living with my last ex, well, anyway, this was the point. So 2 years ago, he tried to, you know, rekindle something with me, and he wanted to throw it in my face. Said, "Oh, I got a place now of my own. I got a car. Come home." And I'm like, "Where's home at?" He's like, "You need to call me first." I was like, "Well, just tell me where home is. What's the address?" He's like, "Oh, so you think I'm supposed to just come, let you come live with me?" It's like, that's how it was, you know, in 2020 when you wanted me there, right? Of course, that time he wanted me to move in with where he was staying with this one bitch motherfucker, so you know, help him steal from me, right? Now, thankfully, I only stole a pack of Muscle Milks, which in 2020, and now they're $10. In 2020, there were 6, right? So everything's just, but, you know, I remember saying that to that fucking orangutan. I was like, yeah, and I bet if I had left my shotgun here, that would have went missing too, huh? And he gave me this look like the answer was yes, right? It's like, tell me yes without saying yes. I was like, uh-huh. You know, it's just, and so it's like Frank James. It's like there's so many times he could have just got rid of somebody. And of course, now it's too late. Once you realize it, it's too late. They got away with it. You know, you'll never find them. Everything's designed to make you as findable as possible, but all the actual criminals invisible, basically. Right? I said 2 separate times with that piece of shit. Last ex of mine. Literally, I was standing over him while he was asleep with a hammer in my hand. Just one real bad, just to crack his motherfucking skull open. That bitch nigger is literally only alive because I let him live. And yeah, I'm going to call him that because that's what he is. I'm going to put, I'm taking it back. I'm going to put that motherfucking word on who it needs to be on. I don't give a fuck what nobody has to say about it. I said, I noticed, Kike Tube ain't going to do shit about all these psychopaths that want to fuck with me, right? Doesn't matter when it's everybody else. Terms of service don't matter. Those only exist as formalities to excuse persecuting me, holding me to different standards. I always get one-sided treatment on fucking everything. I'm, like I said, if I find this monkey now, he ain't gonna be lucky enough to just get it easy in his motherfucking sleep. Nah, I ain't gonna let you die like that. No. It's that bitch motherfucker will feel. If I have to go looking for so he's like, oh, come be with me. I was like, where's home? He's like, oh, so it's like, why'd you tell me then? Why tell me to come be with you and then get mad at me when I want the address to come there? Right? So his bullshit was, oh, I gotta talk to him. Okay, well, I tried multiple times. It's like 4 times in the last 2 years to get a hold of him. I finally got a hold of him a couple weeks ago. We had one conversation. The first thing he does when he answers the phone, oh, I just want to say I was sorry about before. Except he's not really sorry because he wants to pretend it had anything to do with him being a junkie. It's like, no, it's you being a piece of shit. I didn't say that at this point. But anyway, classic thing, 5-minute conversation. At some point, halfway into me talking, phone hangs up. And then a few texts making excuses. Oh, my phone died, but it was also at the office. So embarrassing. Try to call him again one more time. Oh, I'm not awake at that time. Yeah. All the times he is awake, he made no efforts to text me or call me. That's all right. Well, like I said, this thing is going to really wish it didn't make me have to come find it. All right. And I'm going to have a functional vehicle. All right. If I get fucked over on this one, then I'm just going to have to requisition a vehicle. I'm going to have to repossess my property from one of these criminals that's stealing it from me. All right? If you got shit you don't deserve that I'm being deprived access to, then you're fucking robbing it from me. It's my fucking property. I will take it back. I don't give a fuck if you humans don't like morality. You humans hate that shit. Well, fuck what you think, right? Never mattered what I thought. But if this monkey makes me have to come find it, trust me, that's going to be a hell of a fucking video, and see if I let YouTube take that one down. Everything I've been through in life, and it's like it never mattered for anything. Nobody ever gave a fuck about me. Right? Like Rat Jones. I don't care. I don't care. You'll care when I'm stabbing your face. You know? Some of you child molesters already know where you live. Like, literally your street address. Now, I know child molesters love to collude with each other. So, see if I don't torture you till you tell me where the ones are at that I need to know where they're at. I suggest you make it easy on your fucking self. No. He did the right thing. He's the piece of shit. It's like, all right, well, fucking whatever then. Whatever. These humans were going to think that about me anyway, so what does it matter? All right, if you're going to get persecuted as if you had done shit, then you may as well just do it. They say you humans get that narrative you want so bad. But if I did a single thing to any of these humans, one single thing to them that they had done to me, on the order of thousands of psychotic experiences, if I did one of those things, I'd be dead right now. All right? All right, I wouldn't even go to prison. I'd just be dead. And prison's not an option anyway. I ain't letting no child molester put their motherfucking hands on me. No. No, y'all got one kidnapping, you ain't getting another. Sorry. You stupid motherfuckers are going to wish you murdered me when you had the chance. It's all humans been trying to do my whole life is murder me. Of course, they're idiots, so they always fuck it up. But you humans will wish you murdered me when you had the chance. Right? Or you're going to wish when I was, stupid enough to let you kidnap me into a motherfucking psych ward that you kept me the fuck there forever. All right. You better really hope. Yeah. I'm the one that has to go through this. And, it's just like that video I seen. Don't remember where I saw it originally. But, these kids in a school are all ganging up to beat up this kid. And everybody's laughing and, doing their little demon cackle. And this kid's all huddled up in the corner getting beat on. And when he finally gets sick of it, and he gets up and starts swinging on the fucking bullies, swinging on these child molesting fucking aggressors, right? These fucking actual criminals. That's when you get the bitch in the background going, stop, stop. Yeah, stop defending yourself. That's really what these child fucking humans think. Like, you're the one that attacked them. Like, they really think that. They really see themselves as the victims in their little, child molester brain fucking story, don't they? They want to be victims till they are victims, right? And I said, careful what you child molesters motherfucking wish for. You get that motherfucking monkey paw outcome. You get your motherfucking hands cut off. That's what you get. I said, you humans are sick. And, if anything needed to get castrated and fucking enucleated and get flayed and disemboweled and chopped to motherfucking pieces, it's you fucking humans. But it's like, nope, that's only going to happen to the innocent victims. Only going to happen to the people. And these people better not do anything about what these humans are doing to them. Because then they're for sure murdered, right? So, fuck this world. Yeah. Incinerated flesh. A Joyman band. Do Joymans live in New Jersey? I don't know. Guess maybe it's New Goisy, right? Whatever. For the state and corporate terrorists, but aka just the whole human species, their favorite city is Boise. Because they're a bunch of child molesters. A bunch of true faggots, right? They, human homosexuals. Yeah, human homosexuals are a bunch of child molesters, yeah. But you heterosexual child molesters are even worse. Almost all child molestation gets motherfucking covered up too. With the motherfucking, speaking of Poles, the fucking Polish, Wojtyla was still Pope when I was a kid. Well, but I think he was Pope till I was like 12 or 13. That was when the whole rape fucking little boys shit came to light. Of course, nothing ever happened, because why would it? That's how you know they actually did it. It's like EDP. I'm supposed to believe Michael Jackson and R. Kelly and Bill Cosby and all this bullshit. Do they even, it's like, I don't know, they start with the black motherfuckers, because who gives a fuck about niggers, right? Gotta go after the ones that are least given a fuck about after they're famous and, they don't have money anymore. But, of course, no evidence, just hearsay, right? But then, like, EDP is showing up to a motherfucking, try to fuck a kid, and, they let his ass go. That's how you know he's the one actually doing it. Just like the Sting motherfuckers. Like I said, these Stings are actually a bunch of pedophile, a bunch of child molesters. Just trying to distract from them running around fucking kids. Like I said, that's why they let EDP go. They saw he was like him, and they're like, they'll let him get away with it. They'll let him, fuck off as long as he, leaves all the little kids for them to have sex with, right? And then, of course, EDP is going to turn around and, hey, look at all these guns I have that, if the laws mattered, I wouldn't be allowed to have, because I'm very clearly a child molesting, pedophile, mentally ill criminal, right? It's like, no, here's me flaunting all this shit that, it'd be totally different. Like, dude, like all you have to do in any other case is just get accused of that shit, and your life's out there. You get killed. You won't even go to prison. Or you go to prison and then get killed. Nobody cares. Like I said, conviction to humans means you actually did it, right? So, man, that's awful convenient for these cunts saying it. Oh, he raped me, right? Then, of course, if you're an actual rape victim, nobody gives a fuck, right? Like, motherfuckers want to victim blame me. Oh, how could you get raped? He's 140 kilograms. It's like, well, actually, I was like 160. All right. But also, I mean, like you said, and this is like these child molester pillars saying this shit, right? And it's like, even they, as much as these whores, they won't give me free sex, these whores. Like, they'll motherfucking, they never say that shit. I don't care how androcentric they claim to be. They'll never say that shit to a cunt. Oh, how could you get raped? You're 140 kilograms. How could a fat bitch ever get raped, right? They never say that to her, even if it was actually her fucking fault. Because the fact of the matter is, these cunts bring it on them. Truly, it is their fault. Don't lead dudes around and you won't get sex forced on you. You already want to force fuck a bunch of kids into existence. Force them to suffer needlessly and then act like they owe you something. You're already a sex criminal. You have no bodily autonomy left. You forfeited that when you went to be a child molester, literally. Not just like I said, they say you humans think child molestation is just sexual. Well, just because you're a bunch of child molesters in the sexual sense. That's why you only think about that. And then I knew Roe v. Wade going away was the worst thing. Nope, have to have that kid, right? Because these child fucking police need a bunch of kids to murder and kidnap, and rape, right? I seen that video the other day. They're fucking kidnapping some little boy who's, of course, black. If a white boy did, it wouldn't matter, Oh, he stole a bag of chips. Okay, and first of all, you can't steal from a corporation. You can't steal from a store. All right, they're stealing from us. So somebody tries to circumvent our artificial deprivation that they're doing just to try to extort you for fictional currency, for access to basic requirements, and you're going to act like somebody trying to get around that is the criminal. You're like I said, humans are actually mentally ill. All right, and again, this is after I've sat there and watched one of my exes. My goth ex who was white, and then my last ex who's black, literally just walk out motherfucking gas station with shit in their pockets and pay for it. Because nobody's looking at them because they're, pretty, or at very least, like, unoffensive. Like, they don't, look like a criminal. It's nice to see 200 years later, physiognomy never went away. Oh, and then of course back on the psychonology, right? The technological psychosis. The welcome to, it's like it's been Welcome to Minority Report for about 20 years now, and now you're seeing that more and more every day. Oh, another innocent victim gets kidnapped by the child molesting police because AI said it was totally that guy, right? What the fuck did I say fucking 5 years ago? You don't have to worry about, torturing an innocent victim into being a school shooter. They just have some, motherfucking CIA agent go do it and just deep fake your fucking face onto their body. And he's like, oh, see, there's the proof, indisputable. So I don't know. It's ridiculous that it's like even like Orwell, right? Solzhenitsyn, fucking any of them. Aldous Huxley, right? None of these motherfuckers could ever thought up some shit like right now in the United States. Like Solzhenitsyn can go suck a dick. This dude, a gulag is a fucking luxury resort compared to not even being a prisoner in the United States. Just living regular is way worse. You don't think it is because you're fucking stupid. This is beyond oppression. It's oppression with a smile. Right? Yeah, the corporate jingle. We love to see you smile. Yeah. We love to extort your fictional currency. Yeah. Yeah, I said, yeah, plastic toys for plastic motherfucking humans, right? Get that nice plastic smile going for your meaningless bullshit. Whatever. Fuck this and fuck you.